definitely helps.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
He has had an incredible season, and boy, can they knock down threes. Teague does it again.
Have you downloaded the SicEm365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play.
Prescott going end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. Dalton Schultz.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
All right, here we go. This Tuesday afternoon, 3 o'clock. Paul Catalina, David Smoak, Armstrong Sims, and some kid named Jack in the studio today. Haven't seen him in a month and a half, but we didn't see Armstrong for almost a week and a half. We haven't seen Craig other than on Skype in quite some time, and he'll join us here momentarily as well. A lot to get to. We got a bunch to get to. In fact, Jared Butler today was available with a Baylor men's basketball media session the day after the coaches voted Cade Cunningham the player of the year in the Big 12. The Associated Press, the writers' media, voted Jared Butler as the player of the year in the Big 12. In fact, there's some All-American teams released, a lot of information. So yesterday the question was, why wasn't Jared Butler the player of the year? Mark Vidal didn't make first, second, or third team. Maceo Teague was third team. Why not second? And then today, Jared Butler's the AP Player of the Year. Okay, but why isn't Davion Mitchell first team? So you're never satisfied. But the bottom line is you get enough teams, you're going to spread it out. Most of the guys are going to get honored. And we have Jared Butler in a moment who discusses the honor, the awards, and maybe some of the conversation among the players this week after some of these teams were released as well. Paul Catalina. So, again, there's the athletic.com has their Big 12 team. We might have one. I mean, who knows? But it all evens out in the end, and now it's time to start, to me, focusing on the games anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paul Catalina with me in studio, just SicEm365 Radio. Let's go to Craig. Okay, Craig, your thoughts about today. The AP released their player of the year, Jared Butler, and in the end, it's all going to even out pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the conversation about this yesterday, and you know what, I understood, like, the argument. I understood people being upset or annoyed by it or whatever, but in the grand scheme of things, I'm sure it was a big deal for Jared Butler. It wasn't that big of a deal to me, but I know it's something out there that's fodder. So, he's going to have some awards that he's going to win. There's going to be some awards that he doesn't win. Let's cheer the ones that he does get and appreciate those people who decided to highlight him and not worry so much about, with all the good that's going on, the one little thing that might not go their way. And, look, I get it. He deserves it. He should be named it. I understand. But I'm going to look at the positives and not focus so much on the negatives because there's so many more positives going on with this team.
Butler was first-team Sporting News All-American. Davion Mitchell, third-team Sporting News All-American. There's going to be 8 or 9 national teams as well that will include some Baylor players, and some might not include all of them.
Yeah, I do think this. He absolutely deserved to be the Big 12 Player of the Year. I think that everybody this is a good primer for what's about to happen with the National Player of the Year. Look, he's not going to win the National Player of the Year. If based on Cade Cunningham and points, that's how it's going to be.
Cade Cunningham's not going to be player of the year.
No, but if you look at Cade Cunningham and he beat Jared Butler because of points, you look at who scores more points. Well, then Luka Garza is probably going to be the National Player of the Year, and he deserves it. All these guys deserve to be in consideration for it. What's his name? Kispert from Gonzaga.
Timmy.
Corey Kispert,
Corey Kispert.
Zumwalt from Illinois. There's a lot of guys. They all really have earned it. Mm-hmm. Well, only one can get it, and they're not. Very rarely is it unless it's kind of a chicken thing. So name a player of the year, and it most likely will be Garza from Iowa, who's had himself statistically one hell of a year.
Yeah, I do think though when it comes into the AP All-American team, Jared Butler better be on that first team though.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of things to get to, guys. Rapid fire. We'll hear from Jared Butler in just a second. David McCormack and Tristan Anuruna of Kansas both out in the Big 12 tournament because of COVID protocols. So that's the first hit. Hopefully, that's the only occasion of this, but I got a feeling it won't be. Hopefully it'll be the only occasion in Kansas City. So that's interesting with KU. McCormick had the big game Saturday against Baylor, of course. The tournament will start tomorrow. Lady Bears last night hammered West Virginia. After the game, we'll have some audio from Kim Mulkey on Queen Egbo, who really played well. And Bill Brock joins us today at 4 o'clock in a lengthy interview about Egbo and Alyssa Smith, and even Caitlin Pickell and how they've raised their game lately. But Kim Mulkey goes, I hope all three seniors come back. It's kind of a weird deal because this was an extra game. Like it was a game tagged onto the schedule. So they've already had their senior night, so to speak, and then they had the game last night. And Kim wasn't a big fan, and neither was their head coach at West Virginia, of this season being extended into Monday. Like, why even play that game? But she did throw that out there. And so that was interesting, that it's even a conversation with Dee Moon Urson and Dejanay Carrington.
You know, extending the season into Monday is something you do because you kind of, I think they said, we'll have to get this many games in. And, you know, the Lady Bears won this thing a week ago. More than that. More than a week ago, they won the Big 12. So this game was totally pointless, especially pointless going into the Big 12 tournament in the same week.
Yeah, and they ended up playing all 18 of their regular season games. Andy Thomas, a Buster Posey National Catcher of the Year watch list. Craig, your thoughts? We had it at the end of the show. Craig, we saw Paul, maybe you didn't, but Paul stood up in celebration that the Dak hostage situation has been relieved, and now we have details, and I see this back and forth. Who won, Dak or the Cowboys, or maybe both? It's like we have to have a winner. Bottom line is that he's re-signed, he's extended. They'll sign the deal, I think, tomorrow, whenever. And now Dak Prescott held hostage, media held hostage, is over. Did you dig much into it? Your thoughts about what you saw?
Well, it's a terrible comparison to use hostages, not even anywhere near the ballpark. So whoever's doing that needs some better material. Second of all, there's no losers in this. I mean, what, Dak Prescott's going to be a loser if he goes out and never wins the Super Bowl? No, he's making like $1 billion a year. He's going to be just fine. So I'm sure, you know, he's feeling pretty good today. I think his teammates, they win because they've got their quarterback for the future, and Jerry and Steven win because they've got their quarterback. Now, of course, we can't guarantee postseason victories and playoff wins and all of that, but you've done everything that you can possibly do, really, outside of improving that defense to put yourself in that position. So I don't know how anybody's really complaining about it. Like, if somebody's up in arms over the money, I don't know why, because it's not your money. I mean, you're not spending it. You're not paying for Dak. I guess in a roundabout way, we as fans do. But, you know, it's the going rate. Like I said yesterday, I'm just glad it's over with. I'm glad we don't have to ask more questions about when. I'm glad that this isn't just a crutch storyline for the next 2 years or the next year like it's been for the last two. So just all in all, I'm glad it's over with. I'm glad for all involved that it's over with. And, you know, now the real pressure comes, because for the last 2 years, we just talked about how much money you're going to make, Dak. Now we're going to talk about whether or not, and I don't know whether he's worth it or not, but now the money's out of the way. Now it's all about winning. That's the only thing it's about. No more distractions. So, you know, he better, and I'm sure he is ready for that pressure.
Well, Dak, I mean, if you wanted to keep score of like all the columns that Jerry would want to win that he necessarily didn't, I mean, Dak necessarily, I mean, he won that in all regards, except for the fact that, like, look, they were going to pay him a bunch of money anyway. The overall amount that they pay him, to me, is not as big as what can you say his cap number is over the length of the deal. And at $22.2 million is a cap number. I think that's a decent win for the Cowboys on the business side, that they can spread a lot of this out over the deal. And it's not like he's not going to be the quarterback in 3 years or whatever, at least in their estimation. If he's not, something's gone horribly wrong. And I think everybody wins because, look, it's technically a 6-year deal that voids to 4 to help the Cowboys out with a cap and blah, 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 blah. But they can be, if everything goes terribly wrong, it's only 4 years. It's not 8. It's not 9. It's not. They're not paying guys forever. Todd Archer, who's going to be on in the next segment at 3:30, he had a great tweet saying, "Look, the Philadelphia Eagles are paying Carson Wentz $33.2 million to not play for them this year. Dak's number is 22.2 to play for the Cowboys." So I think it works out.
Both sides were going to claim a win. It's who we are. It's instead of, damn it, he signed, thank God, move on. And there's got some that don't want him to get that kind of money. It's got to be somebody wins and somebody loses. Jeff Long, Does he even have the time to hire a new head football coach? Is his job in jeopardy after Les Miles and KU parted ways? He's still got Miles somewhere near $2 million in a settlement. According to Jesse Newell, released by KU, he originally had $8 million on his contract that ran through 2023. He's going to get nearly $2 million via a settlement agreement, which also probably means Kansas can't say anything else, and he can't say anything else, and he moves on, and most likely his coaching career now, based on what we know, is over, and then again, who knows? But this didn't end very well for Kansas, Les Miles and or Jeff Long.
And the news came out at 8:55 p.m. So
it was 8:55.
8:55 p.m.
Nearly 11 o'clock on the East Coast or whatever.
Yeah, so you've got all this going on. So it looked suspiciously like a news dump. Although I think it was just one of those things that leaked out and they couldn't do anything about it. But they had to do this.
Les Miles was his guy. Mm-hmm. What's the story? I was told this by somebody in athletics that I believe I can trust completely, that on the morning that David Beatty had not even yet been fired, that Kansas had a television crew or some kind of production crew in Les Miles' house or in Jeff Long's house or somewhere at a sports bar recording an interview with Les Miles. So this was something that everyone knew. Craig, your thoughts? Kansas yet again. Here comes the constant churn of coaches. And, you know, that's the thing that bothered me about Baylor when they had to go through so many with Briles and Grobe and then now Rule and then Aranda. It's kind of worked out in some ways and not. But, well, you do this enough and you are just a mess, and KU was already a mess.
Well, I mean, I've got a couple thoughts. And number one is, it's easy to dunk on Kansas, but this all happened at LSU. Like, the stuff he's been fired for happened at LSU. LSU wasn't exactly transparent with the whole exit with Les Miles either. That's why we're just now hearing about their recommendations for firing him like 5 years ago. We're just now hearing about how apparently it was like hush-hush in a roundabout way, like don't let Les around the girls, you know, like there was stuff going on behind the scenes, the AD recommending in 2013 he be fired, accusations of inappropriate behavior. LSU failed completely report a lot of these incidents. So, like, they're just being talked about because they happen to be part. No, they're part of the story. Like, LSU needs to answer some questions as well. Having said all that, it sucks to be Kansas in anything but basketball. Maybe that's why that they just can't stand it when the one thing they have, Baylor's actually better than them at that this year, and that's why it's not worth wasting time on one Jayhawk51 guy on Twitter. But I don't know who could possibly want that job. Not a young coach, because you're basically going to ruin the taste for coaching before you even really get started. Like, if you're a Joey Maguire or someone like that who's looking to get their career started in years past, maybe Kansas is a job to get your foot in the door. I think it's too bad and too toxic for that now, because you go into a program, you talk about rebuilding or revamping or whatever, it's going to take a couple seasons. This has taken at least 2 to 3 seasons, at least just to get a roster in order. Like, he hadn't even done that since he's been there. So they are as bottom of the barrel in college football as it can possibly get right now. Like, as bad as Baylor was during their scandal, period, this is worse to me. Because they've been so bad for so long. At least with Baylor, you knew they could win, and they weren't that far away from winning. Les Miles is done for the foreseeable future. LSU needs to be looked at even deeper and doesn't need to just get to wash their hands from this. And I don't know what you do if you're Kansas, because I'm not a coach. I don't care how bad I dream of being a head coach. I'm not going to ruin my head coaching dreams by automatically stepping into a cesspool. Which I know that word was used for Baylor. But it really is about as bad as it can get for KU right now.
Chris Vaniti from theathletic.com, who covers a lot in Kansas college football, joins us today at 4:45 to discuss Kansas.
You know who I would hire, Smokey, if I were Kansas? I would hire a guy who's probably 60 years old, who's established at the, maybe a smaller school, like Craig Bowl at Wyoming.
Okay.
He's done enough in coaching to where the Kansas job does not have to be his legacy.
Well, we'll see what they do. There's no rush because there's no rush. Everyone's been signed. And obviously they have a few guys coming back. Of course, a few guys coming back when you're not very good doesn't always mean that you want all of them back, but they were trying to build something under Les Miles. Gary Kenny, former Baylor All-Southwest Conference linebacker, assistant at La Vega, former head coach many places in Texas high school football. Most recently before La Vega was Sherman, is the new AD football coach at Buna. That was announced last night. And SMU women's basketball cleaned house. Travis Mays, the former Texas star, was fired along with the rest of his staff, and there are some allegations of abuse within that program when it comes to emotional abuse and much more. And that's kind of been reported by the Dallas Morning News, but no players and or their parents would go on record, only sources. But that might be coming out in the Dallas Morning News or even through here because of some things that I've been able to receive from those who have talked to me about Travis Mays, and that was just a matter of time. Now, here is Jared Butler. Todd Archer, ESPN.com, will join us on DAC. We are loaded today from start to finish. 254-339-1122. Some of you have already come on with your text opinions and questions. We'll get to those in a minute. It's going to be tough to get to calls today because we have like 7 or 8 different guests, including coming up with Todd Archer. Here is Jared Butler from earlier today, fresh off the announcement of the AP Big 12 Player of the Year, and questions about the awards, the honors, and his team.
65.
Jared, how much conversation have you guys had? Great to see you again on the Player of the Year, the first team, second team, all of that. It seems like there's been a little chatter on social media. But what about you? And congratulations on the AP Big 12 Player of the Year. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. I appreciate that a lot, and it just means a lot just for Baylor, and just thinking about me as a freshman coming to Baylor, not knowing what I'm getting myself into. Having no expectations for how well I'm going to be or how good I'm going to be. And it just means a lot to come full circle how I ended up at Baylor and now AP Big 12 Player of the Year and like winning the Big 12 championship. Like it just comes full circle. And all these awards are just team awards. I wouldn't be here or gotten the award without my teammates. And y'all know the script. It's obvious how well my teammates just played with me and gave me confidence, coaches, and everything. So it's been nice.
Was there much chatter among teammates on who did what or what was, I guess, awarded to who?
I mean, I think the most chatter was between Mark Votto and Davion about Defensive Player of the Year, but like I think they could have won co-Defensive Player of the Year, and either way it would have went. I think everybody would have been happy. So it doesn't really matter at this point.
Next question from Kendall Kaut with Our Daily Bears.
Hey, Jared, you mentioned the defense getting better. What are the areas you think the defense might need to improve upon heading into both tournaments?
I think just overall communication. I think a lot of times we are late on switches because we didn't talk beforehand. I think defensive rebounding is still like the worst part of our defense and limiting teams to one shot. So I think those two aspects is what we were lacking, and hopefully we can get better in the next few days. Next few days, next weekend.
And I know in response to Smoak's question, you do have a lot fueling you, but seeing how the coaches came down on Big 12 Player of the Year, has that added any extra motivation, or kind of how are you feeling about that?
Yeah, it definitely adds a little motivation, and I think it also lifts me from what other people are trying to say about me and what people think about me. Because, at the end of the day, I did all I could to win Big 12 Player of the Year, but, that shouldn't be my life focus, and I shouldn't be, persuade or, my life generated by, what people say about me, I think at the end of the day, it's all good.
All right, that's Jared Butler, and so typical of him talking about his teammates, as all the other teammates would have talked about them, others as well. But pretty good stuff. That's Jared Butler as they get ready now for Thursday's game. Whoever, it's Kansas State or TCU, is that correct, in the first round of the Big 12, or the second round, quarterfinal round of the Big 12 tournament. Now, coming up next, Todd Archer, ESPN.com. Also today, we'll have Brent Bankston in studio in about 25 minutes on the sports collectibles business blowing up. 10 cards have been $1 million or value or higher. Last weekend, there were 5 in one weekend that were sold for over $1 million. It has blown up since the pandemic and also since the stimulus checks. Brent in studio with his business in Waco will join us at 3:45. Also, my conversation with Baylor assistant head coach Bill Brock on Queen Egbo and Melissa Smith. Very insightful on what they've done to improve. Mac Rhodes 420. Chris Vanini on KU and the Les Miles story at 4:45. And then David Hellman. Dak Prescott, but you guys know he was on a date last night, right? And he was on a date, and then he's been waiting for the Dak news for, 8 years? And then all of a sudden, he's trying to be on this date, and then all of a sudden, the news breaks, and he tweets it. Of course it happened right now. So we'll have him at 5 o'clock. A couple of comments from Kim Mulkey on Queen Egbo at 5:20, and then John McClain at 5:35. Craig Smoak, Paul Catalina, Jack McKenzie, the graphic genius, is here. Armstrong, just flat-out genius, is here. I'm David Smoak, and this is SicEm365 Radio. All right, 30-pound sacks of live crawfish for $4.25 a pound, now available at Waco Custom Marketplace in Waco at 425 Lake Erie Drive. Online, wacocustommarketplace.com. If you like live crawfish, and a lot of you do, live crawfish sacks, 30-pound sacks at $4.25 a pound. If you order by Wednesday at 6, so you have until about 26 or 7 hours to go. Order by Wednesday at 6 each week, and you can pick up your live crawfish, the sacks, how many you order, on Friday after 2 at their location on Lake Erie Drive, or anytime they're open throughout the day on Saturday. $4.25 a pound, 30-pound sacks of live crawfish. Order by Wednesday at 6, pick up after Friday at 2, or anytime throughout the day they're open on Saturday. And they have all of what you need when it comes to a crawfish boil: red beef, potatoes, sausage, corn cobettes, and also Louisiana boil seasoning, and a lot of other seasoning if you want to use that as well. And they can custom cut what you need when it comes to your steaks for the weekend or for your dinner of choice. And seafood, poultry and pork, fresh baked kolaches and bread every single day, cinnamon rolls as well. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Erie Drive in Waco.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Get the vehicle you've been dreaming about at the President's Day event at Allen Samuels. The 2020 Dodge Charger Sxt, ranked #1 in initial quality and driver appeal, has special values of $6,170 or 0% for 72 months, plus $3,000 in combo cash. The 2020 Dodge Charger is at the forefront of muscle car design. From the body to the wheels, it continues to impress. Visit the customer award-winning Allen Samuels, located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco, to see the 2020 Dodge Charger Sxt. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
In Texas, there's pea-size hail and baseball-size hail. Guess which one hit our house? We didn't even know where to begin, but we called our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent, and he was so reassuring. He knew exactly what to do to get our house back into shape and our lives back to normal. Now, we're even more thankful for the roof over our heads.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122. For your company's mass COVID testing, log on to impacthealthlabs.com.
Yesterday, we talked to Chris Clark on the show. We were discussing Jared Butler and a lot of the things, the Big 12 team that was released today, the AP, different type of winners and different honors for certain players. Today, he goes, I love the show. Glad I can participate from over 1,000 miles away. You guys are doing a great job. Truly help us dealing with challenging times and a little reprieve from those challenges. And the response we had from you on SicEm365 in the premium section on the interview with Jack Robinson was phenomenal. So thank you to a lot who have commented on Jack Robinson yesterday, the 94-year-old former Baylor All-American who was sensational with his history and what a life he has lived so far and has much more to come. We're now joined by Todd Archer, ESPN.com. As soon as this story popped, I said, we got to get a hold of Todd Archer, who had a busy day yesterday, and it doesn't stop with the Cowboys. Todd, thank you very much. I have a question. He will sign. It's agreed upon all this. Why is it that it seems like we always have to say who won on any contract deal, whether it's Dak or the Cowboys? Why can't both of the parties claim a victory here, or can they?
Well, they can, and they usually do, because the player gets his cash and the team gets the player and sometimes a favorable contract. But I think for this one, it just dragged on for so long, right? That everybody said, well, by being patient and being prudent, Dak was able to win. And in a lot of respects, you have to say he did. A record $66 million signing bonus, $75 million in the first year, $95 in the first 2, $126 million in the first 3, all records, to a degree. And, from the Cowboys, what they can claim as a victory is his first year cap number is $15.5 million less than it would have been had he been on the tag. And by getting the voidable years in that contract, they can add some cap flexibility in year 2 of this thing as well if they choose. So, but yeah, who wins, who loses, I want to say that's why they play the game, but sometimes these games are stacked in one way or the other. But I'm just glad the thing's done, to be honest with you, Smoke.
Todd, how surprised are you that it happened before the franchise deadline, given the fact that they've had the opportunity to do that twice and didn't?
I was surprised it got done yesterday. What I've been hearing is it was trending this way starting Friday and into the weekend, but I didn't think it would be concluded on Monday. And I think that the tag deadline played a part in it, but I think they finally, both the Cowboys and Dak's agent, just kind of put the BS to the side and said, let's get it done. Where are we? Boom, here we go. And like I said, the Cowboys moved quite a bit to get this thing done, especially with $126 million guaranteed in the first 3 years. But this is like I said, I thought it might have been about like Thursday, the way it was trending, but maybe the tag deadline did have something to do with it. But again, I think we're all just relieved that we can put this off, Dak's contract talk off for another 36 months, because when we get to 2024, when they won't be able to use the tag on him the following year, well, that's going to be about, what, you're going to extend him? You're not going to extend him? We're going to go through this whole thing again.
Todd, Dak already had a tremendous amount of pressure on his shoulders. Anybody who starts at quarterback for the Cowboys does. But how much now with this contract in tow, the expectations, how much do you think those rise? How much do you think that pressure grows with this contract now under his belt?
Yeah, I don't know how it doesn't rise substantially. And now, look, you said it. Like, when you're the Cowboys quarterback, you're automatically compared to Roger Staubach and Troy Aikman, and you better do what those guys have done. You know, Danny White, for a lot of franchises, would be the best quarterback in franchise history, but 3 NFC title games in a row is not good enough. Tony Romo is the franchise leader in passing yards and in touchdown passes. That's not good enough. And now with Dak, you're the second highest paid quarterback in the NFL at $40 million a year. The conversation moves from, man, what a steal the Cowboys got in the 4th round pick for all those years, to now it's, all right, you're getting paid this money. You better win, and you better win big, and you better do something the Cowboys haven't done in 25 years. It's not fair because this is, it's the ultimate team sport. It's just how it goes when you're the quarterback and you get paid all that money. You're going to get too much blame and too much credit. And now for Dak, look, he wants to win a Super Bowl more than anybody, more than any fan out there he wants to get it done. And now this certainly has to add pressure to him wanting to get it done, because the justification for this contract starts with wins and losses.
So even with what appears to be a cap-friendly first year, what appears to be, I think, Paul, you mentioned just over $22 million as a hit, even though a lot of the money that's guaranteed, does this force Dallas to do anything with other contracts now that they know exactly the parameters with Dak?
Well, again, we still don't know what the final cap number is going to be, but if it's between 180 and 185, they'll still have to make a move or two just to get under the cap. And that's, restructuring a Zach Martin or a Tyron Smith or La'el Collins, Amari Cooper. Like, there are plenty of ways to go get some money just to get under the cap and not be an issue. What's good is that it's not having to do $20 million that you have to go get under the cap. You're doing $4 and $5 million, so you're not hampering your cap down the line as much with the structure of this contract from the Cowboys. So look for them to restructure a contract or two, and then when free agency starts, I'll disappoint everybody and tell them they're not going to go sign top of the market guys. They're not going to break the bank. They're going to be smart, or in their minds, be smart in how they're spending their money in free agency, because they just don't believe that's the way they build a team. But then they'll use the other restructures to go get a guy or two to create money when they need it. But just to get under the cap on Dak's contract, it's probably just one contract really they need to flip.
Todd, now that Dak is, done and that is going to take up such a significant chunk of the cap, how important is it for them to really hit on a draft like this one where they have more picks than normal?
No doubt. Right. That's absolute. And not only do they have to hit on their draft picks, they have to hit on their defensive draft picks. I don't care. This offense, and it's not going to end up this way, they don't need an offensive player. Like, we can make the argument that they got to find Tyron Smith's successor, and maybe that best player available at number 10 is the kid from Northwestern or the Oregon kid, Falsey, or whatever. It's like, sure, okay, you can make that argument. That doesn't get the Cowboys better in 2021, though, especially on defense. So they got to find a cornerback or two. They got to find a safety. They got to find a defensive tackle. They got to find linebacker. I mean, you look at, you have Leighton Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith under contract. Well, Leighton's been banged up the last 2 years, and Jalen didn't play very well last year. They got to find players to help this year, but also down the road at that spot. Safety, corner, like everywhere on defense, they need help, and they have to hit on these draft picks the way that they have, and they've done a good job here lately. I mean, you look at last year's draft. Arguably, they got 4 starters out of their first 4 picks from CeeDee Lamb, Trayvon Diggs, Neville Gallimore, and Tyler Biadasz. that's a really good draft. You got 4 starters with your first 4 picks. They're going to need something like that again this year, if not maybe even better.
Todd, not that I'm looking forward to the Cowboys having another long, drawn-out negotiation process with anybody, but you mentioned some of the players they've signed in the last couple years to long-term deals. Now Dak's done. What's on the horizon? Are they pretty much free and clear of any worry as far as contracts go, other than having to move some numbers around, or what's kind of the future as far as what they're looking at negotiation-wise? Is everybody pretty much locked down at this point?
Yeah, it seems that way. But Michael Gallup is going to be a free agent after this season. Is he a guy that you look at, and how does Amari Cooper's contract impact what they want to do with Michael Gallup? They can get out of Amari Cooper's contract after the 2021 season, and it'll be just a $6 million hit against the cap. So maybe that's something that they would think about. Connor Williams' contract's going to be expiring. Is that a guy that they would look to re-sign? And then you got Leighton Vander Esch's 5th-year option is going to come due. Is he a guy that they'll pick that up for the following year? But is he a guy that you look at? Right now, they don't have that surefire dude that you say, well, they got to lock that guy up. I think Gallup might be the closest. And if I'm missing somebody, I apologize. My brain is locking up on where the Cowboys are with all this contract stuff with Dak here lately. But I think from the big-time extensions, I think they've kind of covered them all with what they've done with Dak and Ezekiel Elliott, La'el Collins, DeMarcus Lawrence, Zach Martin. I mean, they've kind of hit the high notes on their own free agents to be.
So in the end, and I mentioned earlier, why does there have to be a winner or a loser? Why can't there be both? It could be both losing this deal. I don't know. But in the end, how much money did this having to wait until now cost Jerry Jones and the Cowboys, if you can put it in monetary terms?
Yeah. I mean, if you look at it, when they first started talking to Dak about a contract extension in 2019, don't hold me to it, but their first offer was somewhere around $25 million a year. So you can say it cost them from there 15, but that's not. By the time they got to the start of the 2019 season, they were at 32 or 33 million. They were right around what Jared Goff and Carson Wentz got from the Rams and the Eagles when the 2016 draftees signed their big contracts. So I guess you can look at it. It cost them $8 million a year by waiting, but I don't want to say. Like, I think we also need to hesitate and say the Cowboys didn't necessarily wait. They made competitive offers. Dak waited. Dak was patient. Dak played this system the way few other players would, and he was the one that was able to benefit by waiting. And you don't see a lot of players willing to take that kind of risk. And look, that risk almost didn't pan out for him from that injury. I wonder what would happen if he gets hurt in Week 5 and Andy Dalton comes in and the Cowboys go 7-4 in the games that he played, and the offense really looked strong. With the Cowboys, and they obviously would have won the division, and Dalton would have, maybe they win a playoff game or whatever. Would the Cowboys have done this kind of deal again? It's the great unknown. So I don't know if you can directly tie the line between Dak's waiting and getting this deal as the way everybody should operate. I just think all these circumstances played to Dak's favor, except for the ankle injury, obviously. But the team struggling without him might have been the biggest reason why the Cowboys were willing to go to $40 million a year.
So, Todd, what you're saying is it was financially great for Dak that the defense was an abject terror.
It kind of helped them. Yes, it did. Look, even when he played, they still went 2-3 in the games he started. And he had 7 giveaways in those first 5 games. But a lot of the reason why he was throwing on pace for 5,900 yards was how bad the defense was. If he plays all 16 games, I hope he's not throwing for almost 6,000 yards, because if that's the case, then this team would have been 6-10 even with a healthy Dak the whole year.
Yeah, I know. You could score a lot of points, and I know that a lot of people love that, but they have got to figure out a way to get more turnovers, although there was a stretch there when they started to, and they started to win a little bit again.
Well, that's when they started playing bad quarterbacks and bad teams, and that seemed to happen.
It has to be a complimentary type of football with an E in the middle of that word, right, Paul? Is that the way you spell that, complimentary? Hey, Todd, to get you on is great. Appreciate all you do. and how you cover the Cowboys. And thanks for giving us your knowledge and insight. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks, fellas. Appreciate
That's
it.
Todd Archer. Great dude, man. ESPN.com, longtime writer, wrote for the Dallas Morning News, covered the Cowboys. We've known him forever. Reached out to him yesterday, right about the time all this was going down, and realized he's not going to respond to me right now. And then early this morning, he said, you still need me? I said, yeah. So appreciate Todd Archer. All right, coming up next, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, but the card collecting business has gone nuts. Like crazy, like that. What's that Bitcoin that went nuts? Or like GameStop. It has been like that. The pandemic, the stimulus checks, and much more. The price of cards and what they're selling for and trading for has gone out of mind crazy. And Brent Bankston from Bankston's Collectibles will come in, be in studio live with us to explain it. This is SicEm365 Radio.
If you're looking to buy a new home, you need to contact my good friend Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team at eXp Realty, 254-214-3713, or get in a little Google box and Google Lance Donaldson eXp Realty. It'll pop right up. You'll see all his listings. He is a unique guy with a unique perspective, and that's how he touts himself. He's a great guy. You're going to have fun looking at houses with Lance. He's also going to have a special knack for finding maybe what you didn't know you always wanted. That's kind of Lance's deal. He's very passionate about what he does. He's very passionate about helping people find their dream home. So if you're looking for your dream home and you're trying to sell maybe the non-dream home you're in, or maybe your family's growing, you need to get a bigger house, or maybe your family is shrinking and that you've got kids going off to college and you want to get a smaller house. Whatever it is you need, Lance Donaldson has a lot of great ideas to help you and your family. 254-214-3713 or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Car has the trucks, man. They have the one for you. Crew cab, short or long bed, silver, black or blue. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, he has the truck for you. Carr has the trucks, man. He has the truck you need. If you want the best truck, you want a GMC. Texas size selection, great prices too. Richard Carr, they have the truck for you.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Booze Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
The Sic'em365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
I was reading an article, Sports Card Collecting Reaches Epidemic Status Due to COVID Downtime. And one of the lines in here made me think of my mother, my late mother, who threw away a massive box or burned an entire box of hundreds of thousands of cards. I used to be a millionaire until my mom threw out my baseball cards. And I've always had a passion for it, but I really have shut that down for almost well over a couple of decades, I would think. But I, on occasion, will pick up a bag or a pack of cards. Brent Bankston from Bankston Sports Memorabilia, Comics, and Collectibles on South Valley Mills Drive in Beverly Hills in Waco joins us in studio because last weekend, I believe there were like 5 cards that sold for $1 million. And in the history of card collecting, Brent, there were 10. What is going on? And thank you for being in studio. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, Smokey, you're right on target with that. Golden Auctions is the one that had that most recent auction. And the cards in that were, number one, it was a pristine Kobe Bryant refractor rookie. So Paul may get this, but pristine means it was graded by Beckett, and it had 10, so it's 10 centering, 10 edges, 10 surface, 10 corners. So there's only 2 on the planet, and it sold for like 1.8 million, I think. So that's kind of your point. Why is this happening? What's going on? And to even further your point, the industry is on fire. I was just telling you just a minute ago when I came in. It's molten lava. Everything, I mean, if it's Mike Trout or if it's Clyde Drexler, if it's, Ty Cobb or if it's Mike, Sosha, it's everything. All across the board, people are buying everything. So Saturday before last, we had lines, not this past Saturday, the previous one, last Saturday in February, we had lines and then lines behind that. It was like a butcher shop. I'm like pulling people, hey, you in the back, hey, would you? And it went from extreme to extreme.
Wow.
Kids at one end of the counter. I mean, I had a 10-year-old kid completing an 86 Fleer basketball set, which is probably one of the most sought-after items in sports right now. He wanted a Clyde Drexler and a checklist. That's what he wanted. And that was $175 for those 2 cards. It's a 10-year-old kid. On the other end, I've got a 70-year-old man who's trying to complete his master collection of Mike Trout. There's the duplicit aspect of what's going on in the world right now, is that the industry is all over the place.
You talk with your hands like you do. I do. That's fine with that. That sounds good.
Now, Brent, I mean, this has got to be great news for your industry in that, for about 20 years now, the card industry had kind of hit its like a lull in that it kind of was what it was. They created a problem by like flooding the market.
Right.
And then they had to they maybe overcorrected a little bit. So now it's just the passion is back for people fixing it. And what do you attribute the increase in value to?
Well, I think if you want to get really technical, it's a multi-layered effect. So the pandemic, obviously, that was something that was unexpected. The Last Dance really kicked this whole thing off. So when they moved it up, remember? Mm-hmm. So they moved it up to air it early, and then people went crazy. We're all at home. We're on our phones, on our computers, on our tablets, whatever. And we started thinking, well, what's a Jordan rookie? What's a Pippen rookie? What's a Rodman rookie? What's Phil Jackson's rookie card when he was with the Knicks? That's the kind of thing that was going on. So people got excited. And you start seeing values bump, bump, bump. While at the same time, you have arguably one of the greatest classes simultaneously kind of get kicked off with Zion and John Morant and all these players. And so the basketball products were hard to get. Production was limited. So Panini, which is the exclusive manufacturer of NBA cards, was unable to fulfill all the demand of products because of supply chain management. Products are not available. Cardboard's not available. People in the factories to print the cardboard boxes to put the packs in to ship them, not available. So here we are. So that kind of set the motion, kind of if you will, the little pebble at the top of the mountain, and then here we go with the snow and bigger, and here we are in 2021, and it's all on fire.
We're talking to Brent Bankston in studio with us on SicEm365 Radio. So it was always Honus Wagner. Right. And I think 3 of the top 10 maybe all-time cards are still Honus Wagner.
Right.
So you're saying now he's been bumped a couple of 3 or 4 times then, right?
So it's that particular auction that you're talking about referencing, LeBron James Exquisite Rookie, which by far the most limited of LeBron James rookie cards. It was autographed, has a swatch on it, it's numbered really low. That was one of the 5 cards. Another one was the pristine Kobe Bryant rookie, which was refractor, very rare. Another one was another LeBron, which was a 1-of-1, the Jerry West, which obviously is in controversy now. The logo, has Jerry West on it. Well, each player has 1 on their jersey. And they had one of those with LeBron's signature, 1-of-1, numbered 1-of-1. And that sold for like $1.3 million. And so the other ones were a more commonplace, if you will, and that is the 52 Mantle, which was up there, obviously ranking real high. And off the top of my head, I can't remember what the other one was. But those are the top ones in that particular Golden. Ken Golden is a famous auction house.
Yeah, Brent, this summer I went through a lot of the baseball. I went through a football phase. I'm kind of back and forth between the two depending on what I'm finding. And I was just doing it like at the time, I needed something to do.
Sure.
I wanted something to do, and I had them all sitting in the house. Might as well know what I have. And I was thinking like maybe one day when I'm old and gray, I can like tell my nephews like, hey, go sell these, Yeah, and then now, I mean, like it's kind of pleasantly for people who are lower end hobbyists like me to find out like, oh, I might be sitting on something here.
It's amazing. I mean, if that one day, Saturday in February, if I was asked one time for Allen Iverson rookies, I was asked 25 times for Allen Iverson. So it's like everybody's looking for these niches. We call them efficiencies and inefficiencies within the marketplace. What's selling? What's not selling? What's moving? What's not moving? What's trending? Right now, I'd say in the last week, it's been Kobe, which is still popular. Of course, Jordan, to some degree, LeBron. But now I said Iverson, Tim Duncan. Those are some kind of nuances people are looking for to try to fill in their gaps before the market jumps. So if you see eBay or you see Amazon or you see prices in these like golden auctions, those prices are legitimizing what's going on in the industry. So people are like, well, I can get that at Bankston's, or I can get that at my local comic show or card show or local comic book shop. And so they're all getting aggressive trying to find these things before the prices escalate.
Well, my question is, it's like with anything else when the value goes up. Like the stock market, I don't know if anyone ever thought it would reach where it is, and it just keeps going up. And it's great for you, and it's wonderful for you, and I love it. I'm happy for you because I know how hard you've worked from the time you opened up that shop. Is it going to continue to rise? Is this going to continue? Like, what's the ceiling here? Do you know?
I feel like we're in a bubble right now, and I think no one really knows how long the bubble's going to last. To answer your question and what you're inferring, there's a lot of new money coming into the marketplace. So the StockX guys that do Jordans and do all this stuff online, they're now buying sports cards. And so that's where we've taken it a new direction that we didn't anticipate. Mm-hmm. So all these guys that were putting hundreds of thousands of dollars in Jordan sneakers are now putting hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars into sports cards. And it might be LeBron and Kobe and Jordan, primarily NBA, but It's also NFL and baseball. Vintage, as Paul and I were talking before we came on air, vintage stuff is blowing up. Right now, you buy a month ago, you could have bought a 62 Topps baseball set for $4,000 to $5,000. I just sold one this week for $8,000. So that's what's crazy right now. People are seeing numbers. They're like, I need to feel that.
Yeah.
I need to feel this. I need to feel that. I need to do this because the market's trending. So how long does the bubble last? I do not know the answer.
It's like anything else.
We are in the bubble, and it's a good question. I left the store just now, and I had 2 guys, one from Austin and one from the Northwest Seattle area, and they're just buying stuff left and right.
You know, there was a time when I collected cards, and again, I'm 61, so it's been forever ago, when you wanted to have every card in a set. And then it kind of got away from that, did it? Where it was just individual cards were more valuable.
Cards, right.
But I always did that. Are you saying full sets now can be valuable again, or obviously from what you just mentioned?
I might be able to write Michael Jordan's name on a piece of paper and sell it right now. That's how popular everything is, and so how hot. So yes, sets. Yes, wax packs, vintage wax packs where people can buy open packs, unopened packs from 1992 or 1986. Or I found a bunch of hockey packs we had in the warehouse. We never sell hockey in Central Texas, but I'm pulling those packs out because people want Gretzky's and Lemieux and Bork and whoever. So people are going crazy over these prospects and players from back in the day because they're thinking, hey, if I get this graded, if I get it slabbed, if I send it off to Beckett or to PSA, then I can sell it for a ton of money because they are selling for a ton of money.
Yeah, you can. I can just tell people, you can go online easily or go to Bankston's and just buy packs of stuff. Yep. And look, you're going to get a lot of stuff that you know, it's probably repeats and all that because that's how they did it. But you could find, you know, a Barry Bonds rookie card in there.
Absolutely.
Or you could find a, you know, I wanted a tear for King Griffey Jr.'s this summer. I kind of got obsessed with that. I did okay. Now, like every time you talk to me, I'm thinking like, well, you know, I may need to bring in some of those Griffies in there.
Sure.
You know, because they've got some value to him because he's probably one of the ones from that era of baseball that people are going to want to snatch up. And he already had a card that's still always been valuable, that Upper Deck rookie card.
Yeah, the Upper Deck one, the 89 Upper Deck, right.
Yeah.
Craig asked this question. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Craig was asking this question. NFTs or digital cards like NBA's Top Shot are, but curious his thoughts on this growing trend with that as well.
So that's kind of a new development in the industry. Top Shot obviously is NBA related. We have customers asking all the time, what do you think? What's going to happen? It's new. It's kind of a new frontier of collecting. Obviously, Panini has been doing the same thing. They have blockchain cards that you obviously have a digital version and a physical version. Top Shot is just a digital video clip. That's all it is. But you own that. And Heritage just sold a Zion for $100,000. The guy busted a pack. He spent, I think, $1,100 or $1,200 on his pack. He pulled that and he sold it for $100,000. So it's a game. It's a chance. It's just how do we move forward into a digital realm? We're still curious about that.
You gave us a pack of Topps baseball cards, and this does bring me back to when I was 7, 8, 9. Seriously, 50-some years ago, and I could open up this pack and there could be something in it. It could just be a fun pack to look at a bunch of different names.
Sure.
Are you saying now when I go to Walmart or I go to H-E-B or whoever, I don't even know where you can find them, but mainly go to you and just buy packs of cards and it's kind of like almost investing?
So, oh yeah. In fact, that's the trouble right now is that these places like retail stores like Walmart, Target, Kmart, whatever, they can't get enough cards. And people are buying them off the shelves and flipping them on eBay. and they're literally...
It's like houses in Waco.
Yes. There's people who are... There's been fist fights. Target's moved everything behind their counters.
Whoa.
So I hear these stories from customers who go and they're like, I can't get packs anymore. So obviously... Now, there's two different realms of products. Our products are hobby products.
Right.
Theirs are retail products. Completely different odds, completely different autographs, completely different inserts, but in the ratio of insertation. But the cards themselves are pretty much the same. It's just two different realms of distribution, two different realms of insertation and products.
So, just so people know, so if I go, like if you're grabbing one of these packs at a Walmart.
Right, it's different.
It's different because it's set up for retail.
Correct.
But they will send you a different thing because you order it for hobbyists.
Hobbies. So basically the thought process developed after you mentioned the kind of lully or the slow parts of the industry. They decided, how are we going to get little Johnny and little Susie to buy cards? They're going to be on mom's purse strings at H-E-B, Target, Walmart. That's where they're going to be introduced. So the companies came up with this master strategy. Let's cast the net wide and then try to capture them. And then on the back of every pack and back of every box of retail product, it says, call 1-800-HOBBY and try to find your local hobby shop. And there's a network. And so then they go, oh, in Waco, it's Bankston's. And then you go there, and that's where someone actually knows when you open a pack at retail and you pull a Mike Trout or LeBron James or whatever, they don't know. At Walmart, you could ask the clerk. They don't know what that is. They don't care. But we do. And so therefore, that's where it comes into play.
So this pack, and it's a random Topps Baseball 2021 series. Clayton Kershaw, Juan Soto, and Alex Bregman.
Great pack.
Not a bad pack.
Yeah.
Right? And see, I just like the fact I got 3 really good names, and the other 7 Paul would know, but I wouldn't know them because I'm out of that now. I don't do the fantasy games or whatever anymore. This is awesome. I think I still have like a full year of like a 96 Topps card, like the whole box, and I don't even know where it is. But I mean, why not? So let's just say you're me. and I have been out of this for a while. On occasion, I'll pick up a pack. I've been in your place. It's been a while, but I've been in there. And I pick up a pack and I open it up. And I don't know what the hell I'm looking at, other than I see names. How do I know if I have something of value? Drop it by your place, go talk to you. You don't have time to listen to everybody.
Well, that's what we do, and that's why we're there. But yes, I mean, if you wanted to, just if you're curious in your home, like Paul this past summer.
Oh, yeah.
You can open your phone up and go to eBay and look up, okay, 2021 Clayton Kershaw, what's that going for?
Right.
Look at completed sales on your eBay app, and so there's a little box you can drop down and do completed sales and go, oh, that card sold for $1, or that card sold for $10, or that card sold for $25. There's short prints in those packs. They're selling for thousands of dollars.
How much was this pack of cards?
We retail them right now for $5.99. When they came out about a month and a half ago, they were $3.99.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right,
awesome.
so I got Albert Pujols, which I know right now is probably he's on the downtrend. But Francisco Lindor, Garrett Cole, Charlie Blackmon, and this one actually I really like, and somebody might rob me coming out of here, is Luis Robert.
Luis Robert, he's hot.
There you go. So
hey, look that way.
Yeah.
Brent, it's awesome. I just happened to glance at a story, and I saw that, and I immediately thought about you, and I said, let's see if we could work something out. Heck, we haven't been here. You haven't been in here, so we're glad we brought you in as well. Tell everybody again, you're on South Valley Mills in Beverly Hills of Waco.
Right.
And you're open, give your hours. Are you online? Give all that information. Let everyone know where you are.
So if you want to find us brick and mortar, we're 1321 South Valley Mills Drive. They're in South Waco, been there since 1985. If you want to go find us online, we're Bankstons.com. We also have presences on eBay and Amazon. You can email us at Brent@Bankstons.com. It's easy. You can ask us questions. We can help. We facilitate a lot of things. I have customers selling products. They're transacting things. They're wanting products. It's a crazy time for the industry.
And not just card collecting, but other things that are collectibles,
right? We handle comic books.
Right.
We handle toys, Star Wars collections. We opened up a restaurant next door, Butter Biscuit. We have a gaming center, which is Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. We didn't even talk about Pokemon today. And that's a whole other realm of crazy right there.
We'll try to get you back on again while this is still hot, and hopefully for you and everyone else who's involved, it stays that way. Thanks for your time, man. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Brent Bankston again. Bankston Sports Memorabilia, Comics, and Collectibles. South Valley Mills in the Beverly Hills section of Waco off of South Valley Mills. Coming up next, my conversation with Baylor assistant head coach for the Lady Bears, Bill Brock. SicEm365 Radio.
Look, when you sell those baseball cards that you found, when you go to Brent and you sell them, you got to have to put your money somewhere. Well, why not the First National Bank of Central Texas? 5 locations right here at home. Waco, Woodway, Hewitt, China Spring, Martin, Hillsboro. Familiar faces making local decisions. Here to help you, your family, and your business, whether it's great times or tough times. All of us need a bank we can count on. Great people with great technology dedicated to their customers and helping our area grow. Safe banking in person or use their online and mobile apps. Convenient drive-thrus and ATMs at all locations. And look, they got first free checking. So you start that checking account with that baseball card money that you're sitting flush with now. When they say free, they mean free. No minimum monthly balance, no monthly service charge, unlimited check writing, and unlimited debit card purchases. That's at the First National Bank of Central Texas. 5 locations right here at home.
We've sent the nomination forms to area high school counselors for the 11th annual Academic All-Stars team, and we will find 20 elite student athletes who excel in both academic and athletic competition from Central Texas high schools. Hello, everyone. This is David Smoak. Our title sponsor is Texas Farm Bureau Insurance, protecting Texans since 1952. The 2021 Academic All-Stars program is also brought to you by Westdale Asset Management, Englander Design Pack, Southwest Sports Medicine, Allen Samuels, Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat, Coca-Cola of Waco, Ray Broker Air Conditioning and Heating, Texas Sports Hall of Fame, HEB, the McLean Group, Universal Windows Direct, Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, and the Waco Foundation are 501c3. Nomination deadlines March 31st. We'll eventually announce the team on Monday, May 3rd. Honor them at our annual banquet on Wednesday, May the 19th. It's the 11th annual Academic All-Stars team highlighting the elite student athletes in Central Texas right here on SicEm365 Radio.
1, 2.
I'm in love with a man named Rudy. I'm okay with that. He knows exactly what I want. He keeps me coming back. He cooks breakfast, lunch, and dinner for me. Does the dishes too. I'm in love with a man named Rudy. Last name Barbecue. It sure is It's easy to fall in love with Rudy's Tasty Oak Smoked Barbecue.
Next in line.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
Pleasant. It's different than any other dentist's office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio.
Butler sets up Teague in the corner. Maceo Teague makes it a quick 5-0 start for Baylor.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
Baylor Lady Bears assistant head coach Bill Brock with me, David Smoak on SicEm365 Radio, and Baylor capping off a 17-1 regular season. We know all about 11 consecutive Big 12 titles, and now Kansas City coming up with the Big 12 tournament and on with the NCAA. Bill, last night Queen Egbo went nuts. I mean, she was fantastic. And Alyssa had some foul issues, and at times they both have dealt with that. What has changed, in your opinion, with how Queen is playing of late?
Well, I think the main thing is her mental approach to the game. She understands how important she is to us. She makes us such a team inside that just has a consistent presence in there. She's difficult to guard. She can jump over people. She can take it to the goal. And I think, it's finally registering to her that how important she is to us. And she must stay out of foul trouble for us to be an effective basketball team, because when you have her dominating in a crowd and rebounding in a crowd like she was last night, and then you have Nalissa on a normal night. She did get in some foul trouble last night, but on a normal night she doesn't. And then Nalissa able to shoot the shot from outside from 15 to 18 feet. That gives us a pretty potent post offense.
When I watch Queen, and obviously they have been dwarfed by Kalani Brown, Lauren Cox, and the size and All-Americans that you had before, and now it's kind of like that. It wasn't a shadow, but those two were so dominant, and they were able to play kind of, and Nalissa, of course, played well down the stretch against Notre Dame 2 years ago, but is it almost sometimes you have to learn how to be the person that you were always able to know that Kalani or Lauren were behind you, but does it sometimes take time to realize it's your turn?
No, absolutely, and I think that's the great thing about our program is that kids that come in here and they go through the process and don't bail out on us after 1 or 2 years. they reap the benefits, their junior and senior years. And just like this year, you can see Trinity Oliver, and you can see Moon Urson, and even Dejanay Carrington, even though she was a grad transfer. I mean, it took her a while to learn how we play and what we look for and what our options are and how we want to play inside out. How defense is stressed so much, how rebounding is, and just a consistent work ethic that we, try to push from day to day. And I just think our kids that stick with us, they really, really have a great career here. But as you know, Smoke, in this day and time, that just doesn't happen everywhere. I mean, kids bail out for one reason or another. But back to Queen and Alyssa, they did wait their turn patiently. They didn't like it, and there was lots of conversations and with them, and Kim had to consistently, remind them, hey, your time is coming, but you must prepare early in order for your time to come. You can't wait. You just can't wait until those kids graduate and then decide, I'm going to start working hard.
Right.
And they put in the work early. And there is a major difference between being a role player and then being the main player with this responsibility on your shoulders. And they both, I think early in the year, there was a learning curve, no doubt. But now they've adjusted. They know what the expectations are, and they each know how important they are to us.
Both of them have personalities that seem to be a little bit different. Nalissa is, expressions as if, she's got a swagger to her. Not that Queen doesn't have that, but Queen seems to be more, not that, and when I say more sensitive, you can see it. You can almost see it in her eyes, in her body language, that she wants to strive to be so good that any little thing sometimes might, maybe get to her. How much of that is a maturity factor, and how much better is she now than she was even a month ago?
Well, I think you hit it, some good points right there. Yeah, Nalissa does have the ability. Now, Nalissa wants to please in the worst way, but she does have the ability to not, to let go of a mistake and go to the next play quicker than Queen does. And I believe Queen will get that way the more and more that she plays. But Queen does sometimes. She lets a mistake linger on, and it'll lead, like one mistake will lead to two mistakes. And I'm talking about foul situations. And that's what both of them have had to learn to deal with. I mean, when you we basically have a rule here that, coach is going to set you down now if you get two in the first half. And that's always been her rule, and then that's the way we play. But, when you get that first one, you can't stop playing aggressive and playing hard. And they've learned how to go along that fine line and say, hey, now I just got to play smarter. And because I can't help my team sitting on the bench. And we went through some spells like that where we had some major foul trouble, especially with Queen. And so I think she's learned that, Smoke. I think she's getting better all the time. Her athletic ability and her ability to go left and right, her skill set around the goal is just uncharted.
I was going to bring this up, and I kind of noticed this in the last, let's say, 2 to 3 games. When you look at her legs, how athletic she appears to still have raw upside with growth and also spring. Is that because Nalissa obviously can jump through the roof, but to me, when you look at Queen, and I don't know if that's something that you guys, I'm sure it is, you look at when she was in high school, does she still have a tremendous upside even now?
Well, I think she's reached some of her upside, but has she reached her full potential? Absolutely not. She is adding stuff to her game more and more. Just last night, Liz was down low one time, and she goes to the high post, and they back off and say, we're not going to guard you. Well, she just nails the jumper from the free throw line, and with no hesitance. She's no hesitancy on her part. She just looks at it. She works on it all the time. And that's one thing that, her daily work ethic has improved. She's always been someone that goes hard. But, there's a time to go 100%. And there's a time sometimes to, let the game slow down a little bit. And she had to learn that. I mean, there's a pace that you have to play at. And I just think that once she continues to grow in that area of learning when to, when not to, her counter moves at the post are getting better all the time. And when you have a couple of really good moves and then to answer that, you have 2 good counter moves, that almost makes you unguardable. And I think you're seeing with these 2 post players and with Pickell coming in, Pickell came in last night and when Alyssa got in foul trouble and just gave us tremendous minutes. And she's sort of a combination of Queen plus Alyssa. Now, she doesn't have the athleticism of Alyssa, but she can still shoot the ball outside. She doesn't have the height of Queen, but she has that strength factor. So she can play both spots if she needs to. But I just think that this group of post players brings you back to the days of our first national championship when we had Sophia Young and Stephanie Blackman. There are more of those kind of post players. And I just think they're exciting to watch when they get the rebound, kick it out, and run the floor.
I was on a couple of different times, the Big 12 Radio Network, when they'd asked me back, and it wasn't just because you lost to Iowa State. We know some of the circumstances around that, and they've lost 4 games or 5 games since that time. But there still seemed to be something missing when I was asked whether or not Baylor women, the Lady Bears, were a Final Four team. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it just, to me, I've watched you now long enough, feel like now that because you've had practices, you've played a bunch of games, and how people have gotten better, which is what you're supposed to do. Do you feel like now you're close to being at a Final Four level?
Well, I think we're getting close, just like everyone else thinks they're getting better also. But let me back up a little bit here. The problem that we had was, and people wanted to panic early. I was talking to our strength and conditioning coach the other day, Jeremy Heffner. We missed 36 of 40 workouts during the off season.
Yep.
Now that's a time right there as a basketball player, as an athlete, when you gain your strength, you more quickness, and you get better. But we missed all of that. Some were able to do work at home and other places. Some were not. And then you come in here, and then it's hard to develop a rhythm with each other with so many new players because we had so much stoppage. And it's been very challenging. But as you can see now, once we're able to string together some practices and some games, I think this team has developed a good rhythm. And I feel like right now, we're playing our best basketball. We can go like 9 deep and not drop off. We got perimeter subs, we got post subs, and you just knock on wood and hope no kind of injury happens. But as of like right now, I think we're in the mix of the talk of being able to get to a Final Four, and I think there's about probably 10 teams in that category.
How much, Bill, and if you don't mind, maybe two questions. Bill Brock, assistant head coach with Baylor Lady Bears after the win against West Virginia. Kansas City is next. There was a time when you had your own talent. You developed your own talent forever, and Kim was not someone that took the transfers for a lot of reasons. You didn't need them. Not that they weren't, at times, couldn't have helped you. Alexis Jones was someone who transferred from Duke, and she was very, very explosive. But now you've had the grad transfers with Chloe, Taya, and now with Dejanay. How much do you guys grind and discuss, and how difficult sometimes is it to make sure you have the right fit for your culture and standard, and it seems like it's worked out for you?
Well, let me back up and preface my answer before I really get to the meat of that question. I think anyone that's at our level, that you recruit kids that you really want in your program coming out of high school, and if they all stay with you and you're able to develop them through the years, you don't have to go to many transfers.
Right.
But what threw us in a tailspin was, and I'm not going to mention names or years, but there's about 3 kids that left here for one reason or another, and that just became a necessity for us. Now, let's get to the transfer part. when you take a transfer, you better do your due diligence. You better do extensive work, investigative work about what kind of person they are, what kind of teammate they are, how are they in the locker room, all this, because you're bringing a player in here to fill a particular spot. To me, it's the same situation as if you recruit a junior college player. You don't recruit those players every year. You just recruit them to fill specific needs. And that's what we've done. And the transfer portal has been very, very good to Baylor University and our basketball program. But there's lots and lots of talk and discussion and investigative work that goes into taking a transfer before we say, hey, would you like to come to Baylor? Because, yeah, let's just be honest now. There's about 7 or 8 of us you can list, and you ask that to those players and they say, sure, I want to come. But just like you just said, not every player that's in the transfer portal is a good fit.
My last question. You have Baylor across the front of your jerseys as a team, and I've asked the players this, and what it meant, what it means, what it signifies. Is this right now the time, obviously with the 3 national titles and the constant Big 12 championships, the elite games you've played, the teams you've beaten, isn't this the time? This is what you guys feed off of right now in March?
Absolutely. I mean, this is what you play for. And it's funny that you'd bring that up, what's across the front of your jersey. Yesterday we were watching film, and Kim said, I want to show y'all something here. We were watching some stuff, getting ready for our next few games, and we're watching these 2 teams play, and their effort was just, it was good. But then you watch them play against us on tape, and it just throttles up about 2 or 3 steps there. And everybody wants to play against us. They use it as a measuring stick. They play hard. Individual players play hard, especially when you face some kids on other teams that wanted to come here and were not able to. I mean, we're really a gauge and a measuring stick for other teams to see how good they are, what they need to work on. Now, when we play certain people, the same thing. Someone that might be ranked higher than us, that tells us what we need to do to get better. But, like I said, there's about 10 of us, and that name across that front means a whole lot when you step on the court. And you have this, you're talking about Queen and Alyssa. They had to understand that now, instead of being, mentioning in the scouting report, now you're on the front page of the scouting report. And people are going to bring their best against you every night. And I think that's one of the things that the kids that step into a starting role from a backup role and a support role, plus the transfers that come in here, have to adjust to quickly. We're going to get everyone's best shot. But you know what? That's what we work for so hard here, and that's what we like, and that's what we have developed, and we accept that challenge, Smoak.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate your time, man. And you guys do a great job. Obviously, here comes Kansas City and then San Antonio. Bill Brock, longtime assistant head basketball coach, Lady Bears on SicEm365 Radio. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy their elite tennis facilities. Also remain fit or reshape your body. Now, they have gone through their own transformation. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app, so you can enjoy whatever you want on the flat screens, whether it's news channels, business channels, weather channels, or sports channels.
Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
Born in Waco, Brotherwell Brewing exists to serve the Central Texas community with locally crafted beer of the highest quality. They want to bring Central Texas closer to the brewing experience so everyone can enjoy well-made beer as much as they do. For 2.5 years, they've been bringing high-quality beer to Central Texas at their location on Bridge Street in East Waco. Brotherwell Brewing believes in community and bringing people together to enjoy products made in their community. So for your game day, whether it's a tailgate or at home, stop by Brotherwell Brewing for high-quality craft beer made right here in Central Texas, 400 East Bridge Street, and check them out online at brotherwell.com.
During the President's Day event, Allen Samuels has special pricing on a new 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee Limited with values up to $3,250 or 0% for 72 months, plus $1,000 in combo cash. Or a 2021 Jeep Cherokee. The new Latitude Plus has up to $6,000 in total values or 0% interest for 72 months and $1,250 in combo cash. Allen Samuels award-winning customer service. The best place to find your next SUV. Located at 201 West Loop 340. Allen Samuels is your friend in the car business.
See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, Bod Pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
Don Humidor, your home with a 48-foot walk-in humidor with the elite cigar brands from around the world, including the #1 cigar of the year, Aging Room Cuatro Nicaragua. Plus, they have the great brands like Macanudo and Artur Fuente, Rocky Patel, Aston, and so much more. CBD, great for sore muscles, aches and pains, sleep, Vita Dreams, and anxiety, mild depression, general health and wellness. Their staff very knowledgeable on the subject. If anyone is curious about CBD, ask Carol and Ashley. Don Humidor in the Townwood Shopping Center off Valley Mills in Waco.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Our weekly segment with Baylor Director of Athletics, Mac Rhodes, is brought to you by Edward Jones Investments Brokers, Tom Albers, Brad Wilson, Ben Erlinson, and Cam Heathcott. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
By the way, just another note on the Scott Drew coaching tree that's being developed. Paul Mills and Oral Roberts won last night on a tip-in at the buzzer. They play for the Summit League Championship and an automatic berth into the NCAA tournament. Of course, the men and women now in Kansas City. We're joined by Baylor Director of Athletics, Mac Rhodes, on SicEm365 Radio. So what are your plans this week?
Tomorrow morning, I'm going to hop on a plane and I'm going to head out to Kansas City and watch both of our programs, #1 seeds, go compete and try to win their respective Big 12 tournaments.
How cool was that on Sunday? What was that like on Sunday for you?
Yeah, that was I don't know. It was just a special day. You know, one, it couldn't have been any more perfect day when you think about the seniors that we honored, right? And then to be able to beat a really, really good and talented Texas Tech team by double digits, and then to finish off the evening with the conference championship celebration. And I think more than anything, just happiness for Scott Drew. It's been a long haul, right? And just his perseverance and his vision, right, for the program and never giving up, and despite the hardships and the challenges, and just really, really happy for him and for our players, current players, such wonderful, great young men to be around, right? And then I think finally just happy for all of our former basketball players that were part of this process, right? And getting us to a point in time where we win a regular season Big 12 championship. So it was a great day.
Mac, you're in the Big 12 tournament now, and then it's pretty much right off to Indianapolis into that bubble. What do you think the biggest challenge is? And I don't think this is probably for your individual team because you've got guys that are pretty focused on the prize, but for teams that are going to be in a bubble for multiple weeks with college students.
Yeah, I think what's the word I'm looking for? Well, I think one, just being cut off from, everything outside, right? The isolation maybe, and the discipline that comes with it, right? I think that's going to be hard. And, especially for those teams that advance far deep, into the tournament or at least past, the first and second rounds. And so, trying to manage that and, having to stay on a certain floor and not being able to get out and really, experience some of the other things that go along with what I would call a normal, NCAA tournament. But, for our kids, they've been resilient. They've been focused, and I'm speaking about both, our women's team and our men's team. Both teams, faced pauses, faced COVID challenges, and they were able to overcome and get back on track. So, I think those are going to be the challenges for everybody. And how you manage them, how you handle them could. I'm not saying it will, but certainly could impact on the way you perform when it's your time to play.
Mac, going back to when you first took the job, you obviously had the big football hire that you had to make, but you had the success of Mulkey. The men's team was good. What were your first impressions, and what did you know about Scott Drew coming into Waco? How did y'all's relationship kind of start off, and just sort of what were your first impressions when you were trying to organize your athletic department?
I think just coming in, I had a very positive, outlook or thoughts on Scott. We had crossed paths maybe once, prior to me arriving, and he was in the process of or he was recommending somebody for a vacancy that I had at a school that I was at. So, I think the other thing that I thought of is his just optimism, right? Is it real? Is it genuine, right? And as you spend more time with him, right, you just know and understand that that's him, right? And that's as genuine as can be, and that's just a part of who he is and his makeup. And it's probably one of the reasons why he was able to take the program, what he inherited and take it, all the way to where it's now a nationally relevant top 10 program, right? We've got as good a chance as anybody to win a national championship. So he's been terrific. When we moved from Missouri to here, I had a daughter that wasn't quite sure that she was going to make that move, and the person that called her directly and recruited her to come into to Baylor was Scott Drew, and so that's just who he is. And I remember my daughter, is this really Coach Drew calling me? What do I do? And I said, well, answer it, right? And so that's our new basketball coach. And And so she did, and he's just he's just a special person.
Scott, Drew, of course, and Baylor #1 seeds. Kim Mulkey and Baylor the #1 seeds as we head to Kansas City. Mac, this is something we've asked you like 45 different ways and 45 different things that are happening, but the transfers, the NCAA Division I Council is about to, I guess, vote in April on the one-time transfer. The transfer portal is filling up almost as like a flood. Is it ever going to stop where everyone gets something for free? And I understand there's circumstances that lead to this, but is there going to be eventually a kickback in a bad way that when everything seems to be just go where you want?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I don't know that I have the answer. I worry about it. I worry about this now sense of kind of free agency and roster management, right? And because you don't have to sit out a year now, right? Just the frequency is, and we're seeing it with how it happens, when it happens. I don't know that it's good for our sport. I don't know that it's I sometimes wonder if it's good for the student athlete, right? Where if, the first thing doesn't work out right at the institution that you're at, you really don't have to work at it, right? You can just enter the portal and be on your way. And so, there's a part of me that worries about, those missed lessons, life lessons. I worry about now all of a sudden, you enter the portal and there's not enough places, right? Not enough available spots to go. And now you're left without a place to go, right? Because the team you just left moved on and made some decisions and maybe, there's not a place or to go like you thought. And then the other piece of it is completely opposite of that. How much tampering will go on before that? How much, before you even put your name in the portal, exactly where you're going, and you've had conversations with other, with other teams, with other programs, and now all of a sudden, do we have a system, a situation where we're actually recruiting people, off other teams while they're still on that team. And so those are all of the things that I worry about. And we just need to be and better be really, really careful on how we manage all of it.
Mac Rhodes, Baylor Director of Athletics, with us on SicEm365 Radio.
Mac, is some of the things you mentioned in that, like the tampering, is almost impossible to police, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is impossible to police, and you take it one step forward, and you think about intra-conference and now the ability, right? If that's where we head, right, the ability to now transfer within the conference and not have to sit out a year, and what does that do for relationships within your own league, within your own conference? And I certainly think about men's basketball, because I've been at those meetings in the Big 12, and all of those coaches have great respect for each other. I would say that they're friends. They've got really, really great camaraderie. What happens to that now, right? You could argue, well, hey, do you want that player leaving and then playing in another conference? So there's that side of it, but you worry about just the tampering and some of the conversations, the pre-conversations before going into the portal, and how that's going to impact everybody. So.
Mac, last week the governor of Texas, as you know, the mask mandate, and much of which we've had to deal with in many ways over almost a year, it's being lifted tomorrow. Of course, everybody has rights to make their own decisions. I know you released a statement even that day. Did you in any way, shape, or form think about something different? And also the capacity at your stadium, McLean Stadium. A lot of people are now doing the 100% capacity. Oklahoma, Alabama. And those are huge stadiums. Texas, you have under 50,000. Have you thought yet much about the capacity this summer or this fall?
Yeah, so I think, the first part of the question is we really didn't think about doing anything differently or changing what we're doing now. We're going to be cautious at first, and we'll see how things transpire over the next month to 2 months. If we made any adjustment this spring, and I'm not sure that we would or that we will, but it would be starting obviously with a baseball or softball and an outdoor sports, and maybe you lift or you increase capacity a little bit, but we're going to continue to be cautious. As we're caught in the middle. We've got probably 50% of our fans that don't like wearing the masks and aren't necessarily a great fan of reduced capacity and social distancing. And then, we've got, 50% of our fans that very much believe in wearing a mask and the social distancing piece. And so, we'll manage that and continue to try to just make common sense decisions as we think forward, to football season. My goodness, I hope we're north of 75%. And, again, I think we'll be somewhere between 75 and 100%. I don't know how anybody can for certain say that they're going to be at 100% right now on this day, but maybe they can, and certainly they have. But we'll continue to monitor it and be hopeful, and as I mentioned, be hopefully set north of 75%. And look, if we feel like we can get to 100% and do it safely, we're going to do that.
How many miles do you have to run to get rid of a Fig Newton?
I have no idea, but it's probably longer than just 1 mile.
Well, it's not just one Fig Newton, Mac. I mean, anybody who can eat one Fig Newton has unbelievable self-control. They come in a pack of like 4.
Yeah, but then you get a box of them.
Oh, yeah, and that's a whole other thing.
Yeah, well, somebody, I'm not going to mention who, but somehow I got a surprise delivery of a 24-pack, Fig Newton box, 2 per pack. So a total of 48 Fig Newtons. And guess what? They're going to fit very nicely in my suitcase. I'm bringing them with me to Kansas City.
Well,
that's a good chaser for burn ends.
It's kind of like NBA players or golfers when they get to their locker. There's like shoes and stuff like that. It's what happens when you endorse Fig Newtons. And then here's another. There's a breaking news story here, and we'll have this on the site later today. But there was another box delivered to a football coach. And the box had one package missing and apparently a note that said you'll find the wrapper of the package that's missing in somebody's trash can in administration.
I have no idea who that would have been. No idea.
I don't think it's very nice of you to throw Jovan under the bus like that.
I know. Yeah.
Have fun. We got to laugh every once in a while, right? You got to be able to laugh every once in a while.
Amen to that, and especially this year.
Yeah.
So.
Good luck in Kansas City. Thanks for your time and access as always. Thanks, Mac.
All right. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Baylor's Director of Athletics, Mac Rhodes, coming up next late yesterday about almost, 9 o'clock Central or 10 o'clock, whenever it was. News of Kansas and Les Miles parting ways, yet he still got nearly $2 million. Jeff Long's made a couple of comments on it. People are kind of grumbling about what's going on. Will he remain? Chris Vanini from theathletic.com, who covers college basketball and football and Kansas as well, is next on SicEm365 Radio.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Engel with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like instant issue debit cards free at all of our banking centers, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has protected fellow Texans with auto, home, health, and life insurance since 1952. With more than 260,000 square miles of land and 27 million people, that's a lot to cover. Whether you're wrangling cattle or wrangling kids, we're proud to protect Texans in all Texan ways of life.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's the 22nd year anniversary sales event going on now at Richard Carr.
All right, here we go. SicEm365 Radio. Chris Vanini does an incredible job covering college athletics for The Athletic. National College Football Reporter. Today, Jeff Long, press conference, so to speak, on the release of Les Miles and vice versa. And Chris Vanini joins us on SicEm365 Radio. Chris, I know that it's legal, I understand this, but so Les Miles is obviously gone because of what happened at LSU, and yet he still gets a check or payment of nearly $2 million. Is that confusing for a lot of people? And how did Jeff Long answer that question today?
Yeah, because every coaching contract has the boilerplate statement that, if you embarrass the university, we have the right to void the contract. But those never seem to come into play, and that didn't here. And so when Kansas announced last night that Les Miles would be parting ways mutually, and they didn't even mention the LSU investigation, my initial reaction is, okay, there's probably a settlement, there's probably non-disparagement clauses in there, and they can't say that. And the settlement came out today, and that's pretty much what happened. He's getting $2 million, and the sides agree not to sue each other, and they can't say anything bad about each other. So when Andy Staples, my colleague at The Athletic, asked Jeff Long if Les Miles lying is good enough to avoid the contract, Jeff Long couldn't really say yes, because that would probably fall under the non-disparagement clause. So he just kind of said it was debatable, and he turned it over to legal. So Jeff Long tried to move things forward here, but I think it just created a lot more questions.
So my question is, okay, if he asked Les Miles and Les Miles said no, there's nothing, and Les could reasonably, skirt that issue of the settlement or whatever happened in 2013, then how did Jeff Long not ask LSU if there was anything that would embarrass him?
Jeff Long said he talked to LSU people and they didn't mention it. So that's pretty much all we have to go off of, is that he said he ran multiple background checks. He said he talked to people at LSU. He said he asked Les Miles, and nobody said anything. He didn't use the search firm the last time this happened. And normally that's one of several reasons you hire a search firm, is to do these intense background checks and try to dig up dirt and all that stuff. He hired Les Miles in 2 weeks in November 2018 when nobody else wanted to hire Les Miles, and it was pretty clear who he had his eyes set on from the beginning. And now, not only does that look foolish for their poor performance on the field, but now Kansas is now in this situation.
So, Chris, I realize that in Waco there was a big to-do not that long ago. There was a lot of people asking questions of Mack Rhoades, like who could possibly want the Baylor football job. But, they had won recently. There was still talent on campus. For Kansas, it's been eons since Todd Reesing was, taking them to a bowl game. How desirable, what kind of coach do you think would be interested in this job the way it's set up currently?
Yeah, so, over the last week, as this kind of came out, I was talking to people in the industry, talking to coaches, talking to agents, thinking, okay, well, what's going to be the interest in this Kansas job? They've been they've been the worst Power 5 team for a decade plus. Surely there aren't going to be any people interested in this job, right? But it turns out there are. There are a lot of coaches who are interested in this job because it's a Power 5 job that will still pay pretty well. And those those opportunities don't come around a lot for coaches. So I think Kansas is going to actually have quite a number of sitting Group of 5 coaches to look at. You're looking at Tulane's Willie Fritz, Buffalo's Lance Leipold, Army's Jeff Monken. I think those are names that pop out right away as guys who might be interested in this job. So Kansas is going to have options. Whether or not Jeff Long is going to be the guy to make that hire, not totally sure yet. They're not totally sure yet. But Kansas still has an opportunity to actually turn this into a positive.
I was going to ask you that. Yeah, go ahead, Craig.
I didn't have anything.
Oh, okay. That was my next question. I had a question mark next to Jeff Long's name. How much heat is he taking?
Well, publicly and among other people in the profession, a lot. And he seems confident that he's going to make this hire. He says he's working to hire a search firm. But when asked about his own job security, he dodged the question. And he only said he's just focused on, making things right for the players. So that's up to Kansas's chancellor, pretty much, if they're going to make a change. He is definitely getting a lot of heat. He's trying to say he really didn't know about this. But, between that and his poor track record of hiring coaches, period, it's fair to question Long if Long should be making this hire.
Yeah, is that where we are? This is kind of how it is. You either are ignorant or complicit, and Chris, neither of those things are good, right?
No, it's not. Not coming up with this does not make him look good. There were rumors about Les Miles stuff when this happened in 2013. So much so that it was on message boards. So much so that some national college football reporters had to plot down, alluding to a wild Les Miles rumor that they said was not true. Well, it turns out it was true, and it was clearly enough of a rumor for those people to know. And Jeff Long was in the SEC West at Arkansas at the time. He has known Les Miles for a long time. So the fact that he didn't know about this does not excuse him, and it makes him look, like you said, ignorant.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Chris, I know you cover the football, but I saw with the basketball team today, with David McCormack and another teammate. They had a couple of COVID protocols where they're not going to make the tournament. It seems like they've got it pretty much contained, but we're at that time. We're about to find out if they're going to get these tournaments in. I think they're going to be able to play them all, but I'm not sure they'll be able to play every game. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, we've already had a couple of teams whose seasons have ended because of COVID issues, and they have to forfeit a game of the conference tournament. This happened in the Missouri Valley with Northern Iowa, which turned out to be a mistake in communication. And then I think FIU and Conference USA the other day just couldn't move forward. So there are going to be teams, there are going to probably be games that just get pulled, because of one team, and a team is going to automatically move forward. That's the plan in the NCAA tournament as well. And I'm fascinated to see how that's going to go down. If you have a pretty good team, that has COVID issues, and suddenly they can't play their game, and all of a sudden their season's over and somebody else gets a forfeit win, we're probably going to get some of that in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. Paul?
Yep.
All right. Craig?
Yeah, Chris, I was just wondering, if you're an LSU fan out there, are you concerned about this story? Is there any way this comes back on LSU, or are their hands pretty much clean now and it's kind of all on Kansas and Jeff Long's plate?
I mean, as far as the Les Miles stuff, yeah, but I mean, if you look at the Haas-Blackwell report that came out last week, there was a much bigger cultural problem at LSU with Title IX, with handing sexual assault, with dealing with player discipline, and that's ongoing. There was a protest the other day, might have been yesterday. There was a student protest at the LSU football building with students sitting in the driveway and not letting cars come in and out. There are still a lot of problems at LSU that involved a lot more people than Les Miles, and that is still ongoing. They've got a ton of Title IX issues they're dealing with as well.
Chris, you know that what Baylor went through back in 2016, including Pepper Hamilton and all of that came before it and even after it. The LSU story came out at the end of the year, and I know that I think USA Today may have had the initial part of the story, and then it seemed like it just ended. Not much was said. Why was there not more uproar of what happened in Baton Rouge?
Are you talking about now, or are you talking about back when the first report came out?
First report, there was a couple of days. Orgeron answered a couple of questions, and then it just seemed like it just simmered for a while, and it didn't have that daily dose of something about LSU. What was it just not enough people had enough of what they needed to report?
Well, I think part of it is that Les Miles wasn't there anymore. I mean, it was news that Joe Oliva wanted to fire Les Miles and didn't feel he could. And the president of the school, who's now at Oregon State, said initially that they didn't have enough to fire him for cause, and now says maybe they should have. But he is no longer there. And the head coach of college football is the one who gets all the attention on everything. So when it's issues like, players and assaults and issues like that, those don't grab as much interest because, sadly, those happen quite a bit in a lot of places. But LSU has a lot of issues that I don't think are going to be going away. I just think that the fact that the big, headline grabbing name involved in this, Les Miles, is no longer at LSU anyway, so it moved over to Kansas. But LSU still has a lot of problems to deal with, and those aren't going away.
Chris, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Chris Vanini, theathletic.com, on Les Miles and KU and Jeff Long and LSU. And Craig is always good about bringing us back to the focus. Right now, in the last 24 to 48 hours or so has been on what KU and Les Miles, but it all still needs to be, let's not forget where all that happened. It didn't happen in Lawrence. It happened in Baton Rouge, and I think what I was trying to get to Chris as well was there was a lot of stuff that under the Ed Orgeron regime, too.
Well,
and he is still the head
that's what he's talking about.
coach.
They have other problems, with their report that's come out. So, that's a great question by Craig. LSU, I mean, look, they're going to eventually deal with it. And, whether the major networks cover it like they did the other thing, I do think I have a theory on that, but we can get into that later. So,
yeah. Okay. Coming up next, David Hellman. We've got some work to do on him. So he eats, sleeps, and drinks Dallas Cowboys football, news, notes, and breaking stuff. And so then last night, the big story that everyone's been waiting for the last couple of years, and God help us, thank God it's over, at least it seems that way, David Hellman was actually away from working. And we got to get into that with him. But also, of course, let him break down Dak Prescott and the new deal with the Cowboys and much more. At a little after 5:20, we'll have Kim Mulkey on Queen Egbo and her explosive night last night, and John McClain, his thoughts about Dak and more. SicEm365 Radio. Don Humidor and Coffee Beans. Coffee Beans, this is a store, a business that was opened in the late 1960s. Initially, the Humidor on Lake Air Mall on Bosque Boulevard. The Lake Air Mall has, of course, been torn down. Don Humidor then moved to the Townwest Shopping Center on Valley Mills, and then just a handful of years ago moved into their brand new existence in 2014 or so, expanded their Humidor to 48 feet in length. A sight to behold if you like cigars. All the extra space, naturally, their own cigar selection grown exponentially, and of course the humidor that keeps the cigars fresh for you. And what kind of cigars do they have? The elite cigars, the best in cigars, the best in cigar brand names like Christoph. I love La Fontana. Also, there's Brickhouse, which is an underrated brand. It depends if you know the business, the big name of Ashton and Cohiba, among many others, Padron and Punch, Rocky Patel and Arturo Fuente. Don Humidor with Carol and Ashley, and they are fantastic and understanding, kind of like we had Brent Bankston earlier on collectibles about what's hot and what's not in his business. They know the same thing when it comes to the cigar business. And also fresh coffee beans, the aroma, the flavors that you want, there for you as well. And CBD products, including Vita Dreams, if you struggle at night when you want to go to bed and there's always too much on your mind, or you're just one of those that's restless, you just don't fall asleep very quickly, well, Vita Dreams can help you at least relax and then enjoy a night's sleep. And think about how many, maybe minutes or in some cases hours of lost sleep you have. Vita Dreams can help you with that as well. It's a CBD product. Carol and Ashley, tell them Smokey sent you. Don Humidor and Coffee Beans in the Townwest Shopping Center off of Valley Mills in Waco.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed, smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. In a long distance meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's group meal.
Next in line.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T as board-certified physician consultations will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients,
who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old, and they come every 6 months, and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Sic'em365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with David Hellman of DallasCowboys.com.
Prescott on the keeper, walks in, touchdown, Dallas.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing.
Now here's David Smoak, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoak.
We will hear, hopefully very soon, David Hellman, DallasCowboys.com. It's been a pretty busy time. If you cover the Cowboys, we had Todd Archer, ESPN, on with us early in the show. And I got to tell you, last night, in this day and age, it's fun on occasion, like we did with Mac Rhodes at the end of his segment, to just giggle, maybe laugh if you can, although sometimes it's very hard to do that. David Hellman had me in stitches last night. Absolutely in stitches. Dak Prescott comes to an agreement, and David Hellman's trying to find, trying to be nice on a date. How did that end, David?
It ended really well. She was very understanding. I think the irony of ironies is I think maybe 15 minutes before the deal came down, she was kind of asking me, what my schedule looked like during the off season, and I was like, yeah, it's pretty tame, when the season's not going on. And I was like, yeah, it's more like a 9-to-5 job unless something crazy happens. Like, if the Cowboys actually get around to signing Dak Prescott, I'll probably have to do some work. And sure enough, I don't remember why I looked at my phone, because you try not to look at your phone on a date. But I looked at my phone and it was just absolutely blowing up, and I was like, holy crap, it's happening. You're gonna have to excuse me for a few minutes. But she was very understanding and did not take it personally, so that was nice.
David, why can't that stuff happen that's going to be like actually beneficial to maybe the world, like, unless they cure cancer in the next 15 minutes, and then that happens, as opposed to you saying, unless they sign Dak Prescott in the next 15 minutes, and then that happens.
Sure did.
Well, hey, it would be amazing if we found a cure for cancer, but that's not my area of expertise. Yeah. So, I don't have to work if they find a cure for cancer. I can just sort of pump my fist and say, that's awesome, and carry on with my life. But I do have to kind of drop everything and do my job when the Cowboys sign the biggest contract in history, which it's a first world problem, but it's been a joke with me and all my friends in the industry for as long as I can remember that, the minute you decide to kind of do something for yourself, that's when it happens. And I mean, it's a joke, but good Lord, it seems like it's proven true every year. I mean, as soon as you try to go see a movie or go on a date or get your hair cut, that's when it's going to happen. And that's definitely what happened last night.
So, David, we've heard people talking. You've talked about this for hours on end over the last couple of years. Everybody's talked about it. Now we know that he's signing a contract. We've got, reported numbers, things like that. Based on what you've read or heard as far as the contract itself goes, what stood out to you and what surprised you, if anything?
Well, other than the timing, obviously, I think it's fair to say that I expected Dak to be tagged, clearly, because I was out doing something on Monday night before it happened. But really, in terms of the deal itself, I really wasn't very surprised. And I think the big takeaway is just that it's hard to beat these quarterbacks when it comes to leveraging these deals, man. And I think, I don't want to put too many words in the Cowboys' mouth, but I always got the impression that, you know, the holdup that made this thing drag out over 2 years was a little bit of denial on the Cowboys' part. I mean, if you go back and think about this whole saga over the years, you know, we were arguing a couple summers ago whether Dak was worth 32 or 35 million, and then like the word leaked that he might want 40, and everybody lost their minds. And oh, by the way, he got more than that, and that was after a traumatic injury. And oh, by the way, he got himself a no-trade clause and a no-tag clause. And again, I mean, that was after he suffered an injury that forced him to sit out 2/3 of the season. It just goes to show, if you're the right age and the right talent level and play that position, you just have a lot of power. And, you know, franchise quarterbacks might be the only players in the NFL that can really dictate the terms. And I think that's definitely what Dak did with this deal.
He's young. I know he's coming off the injury, but there's 32 jobs in the NFL, and about, 20 teams would love, maybe 25 teams would love to have him rather than who they have? Maybe not that much, but close to it, right?
I think it's probably more. And that's, you know, you get in these arguments with people all the time where they're like, well, let him hit the open market and see how much he's really worth. And my rebuttal is always, I don't think you want to do that because these guys are hard to find. And, I mean, you don't have to love Dak Prescott, but you're absolutely right. Like, when you consider his age, his talent level, what he's accomplished, there's only 3, maybe 4 quarterbacks in the NFL right now that have a better resume and a better justification for that asking price than Dak Prescott. You know, you have Mahomes, you have Rodgers, you have Russell Wilson. You could maybe argue Deshaun Watson, but honestly, I think Dak's resume is every bit as good as his. And then after that, I mean, you tell me. So, you don't let guys like that walk away from your building if you can help it.
David, even though the cap number is very palatable for what it is at $22.2 million, this doesn't really change their free agency plan, does it?
No. I mean, you're going to sign guys in free agency. They definitely, you know, it's going to be way easier for them to handle that now. You know, they probably don't need to do as many restructures. They obviously don't have to cut anybody if they don't want to. But, you know, at this point, I think we know the way the Cowboys operate in free agency. They're going to look for some bargains. They're definitely going to sign some players, but they're not going to be competing for guys at the top of their position. That's just not what they do. And honestly, even with the money they saved on Dak's deal, I don't know if it would be smart for them to be splashing that kind of cash. So it's fun that they've got the space and they don't have to maneuver things around with Dak on the tag. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not anticipating them doing anything wild when free agency opens.
So, David, obviously this is a relief for Dak Prescott and his people. It's a relief for the Cowboys as well to have this done. But did you ever get any kind of a sense from the players themselves? Were they really asked all that often about Dak's deal? Did you ever, I guess, get the sense that was any type of a distraction for them? And what do you think the thoughts are of the team upon learning this news?
The vast majority of those guys will tell you, I mean, they don't like to talk about each other's money. You know, like that's a personal business decision, and these guys all understand that even great teammates have to look out for their own bottom line, and obviously we've seen that several times over the years. But I thought it was really telling. I mean, it's not surprising. I think if you follow the Cowboys at all, you know what a leader Dak is on this team, and you know the type of presence he has in that locker room and how widely he's respected. But I did think it was telling that just about every important member of the team was lighting up social media last night, you know, talking about how excited they were, whether it was Zeke, Amari Cooper, Lyle Collins, Tyron Smith. Even, you know, one that really stuck out to me, Randall Cobb said that Dak is one of the best teammates he's ever had. And that's a guy who, A, only played in Dallas for a year, and B, you know, played on some really good teams in Green Bay with a really great quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. So for him to say that, I thought was really, really high praise. And, you know, it shouldn't be a secret at this point how widely beloved Dak is by his teammates.
You may have alluded to this in some of your answers, but I don't think so. Why do we always want to measure who won these things?
Because it's, you know, because of the finite amount of cap space and the way that this hits a team, and also, you know, bragging rights are everything in the NFL, and we've got to fill 9 months of time where nobody's playing games. And so, if a team signs a deal that looks dumb, people want to tear it down and say, oh, you're going to cripple yourself for years to come. Or, if a player signs a ridiculously bad deal where it doesn't seem like he consulted, you want to give the front office credit for kind of pulling the wool over their eyes, I guess. I think, it's just another element of the nonstop news cycle of the NFL where, you've always got to have something to brag about, right? Like, you're only going to play 2 games against the Eagles a year, but if you can snipe at Eagles fans or Eagle fans can snipe at Cowboy fans about doing something stupid, they're going to find a reason to do it. I think that's just part of football fandom.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it, David.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck
Appreciate
with everything involved in your next date. I hope there'll be a follow-up.
I'm
David
sure there will be. How would you not want to go out on a second date with Hellman?
So how does your off-season affect your job? And, everything's, unless ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
Here's a tweet that's interesting on back to Kansas and Les Miles. Since Gary Patterson became the head coach at TCU, the Big 12 has now seen, including the schools that left the Big 12. Now, he wasn't a part of that, but this is over the time he's been the head coach. Kansas has had 9 head coaches. A&M 8. Colorado, Nebraska, and Baylor 6.
A&M's had 8?
Texas Tech 6, Iowa State and UT, West Virginia 4, Missouri and Kansas State 3, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, who have also been consistently much better, have
A&M
had 2.
hasn't had 8 coaches in my lifetime.
Well,
Jackie Sherrill, R.C. Slocum, Dennis Francione, Mike Sherman, Kevin Sumlin. That's 6.
Now they have, what's his name?
Jimbo Fisher. Jimbo Fisher would be 6.
Well, when was Patterson hired? How long has he been?
Not since I've been alive.
Okay.
Dennis Francione was at TCU before. He's been at, he was the one right before Gary Patterson. So
name the ones you mentioned again. We got to get to.
Because 8 is wrong on A&M.
Since when?
Since Gary Patterson became the head coach of TCU, which I think was like in 90-something.
Yeah.
Working back, they had Jimbo Fisher, Jeff Banks, interim coach, Kevin Sumlin, Tim DeRuyter, interim coach, Mike Sherman, Gary Darnell, who was interim coach, Dennis Francione,
Francione,
and R.C. Slocum, and then.
You're counting interim coaches who are there for the bowl game.
Still 5 or 6.
5 or 6, yeah.
It's a chunk.
But
8.
Whoever made that stat is, that's Jeff Banks was coach for an hour. It's not the coach. That's ridiculous.
Bottom line is there's nearly 55 or 60 coaches, and I've taken off some of the numbers from that, who have become head coaches at the other schools that were a part of the original Big 12, since Patterson. And that's longevity. But, again, the last couple of years, they got to get better too. He's got tenure there.
Yeah.
It would take a scandal, and they've avoided one.
Miraculously.
Back with Casey Paha was in today's, it would be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, on the one hand, they've been incredibly consistent. On the other hand, I don't think too many TCU fans are complaining, but if I had a head coach that was in place for 20 years, I'd want a little bit more, honestly. Like, I know that sounds crazy to act like he hasn't done a tremendous job, but because he has, but they've been in a little bit of a mix. It's kind of weird how much their success parallels Baylor's. Like, they had the world by the you-know-whats when Baylor got in trouble. Like, they could have easily just slid into that place all by their lonesome, and they proceeded to back it up with just average teams, just not very good teams. They haven't been as good since Baylor was as good, quite frankly, and Baylor's actually had a better year than they've had as of late with the 11-win campaign. So, if I was a TCU fan, I'd count my blessings that they've had the longevity that they've had, put a lot of guys in the pros, won a lot of games, but at the same time, there's still kind of a more bare cupboard than I would like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, good point. When we come back, yesterday I asked about we were talking about the oversights. So of the 3 apparent oversights from the All Big 12 team that was yesterday, that was the one with the coaches, which of the 3, Jared Butler not winning Player of the Year, which today he was the AP, Mark Vital being left off first, second, or third team, or Maceo Teague not being at least second team. Who do you think among those three options was the one that bothered people the most?
Butler.
No.
Vital.
Vital not being at least first, second, or third team. And I know there's the argument about his, and the Butler thing was there, but most of them, and there was a lot of argument, good arguments, statistical arguments for Maceo Teague. And then you heard earlier, I don't know if you heard this was in the media session. We had some of that with Jared Butler. Scott, there was I don't know who it was, a West Virginia analysts were discussing Baylor's front court. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, their backcourt. Mm-hmm. And their guards and how good they are defensively. And all three of them, Butler, Mitchell, and Teague, Maceo Teague is holding his opponents shooting 17% for the year. And he never gets brought up in this mix.
No.
And that's how dominant their guards have been. And that was West Virginia, one of the analysts, was an older guy like me. He had glasses on like this, and he was like this, and then that stat came up, and he's a guy that understands basketball. All of a sudden, he started doing, the next thing you went to him, and he's like this. Take his glass, chewing on his glasses, because he couldn't imagine the stat that Maceo Teague has held who he guards to shooting 17%, and you rarely ever hear anything about his defense. All right, when we come back, Queen Egbo had a monster night for Baylor. What Kim Mulkey thinks about her, and then John McClain still to come. And this is SicEm365 Radio. Building, constructions, metal roofing, metal buildings, pipe and steel, structural standard set by Pioneer Steel and Pipe in Waco and Bryan. Metal roofing, welcome to the Pioneer Way. 1943 they opened, and they are stronger now than ever before. And yes, they've had to go through the ups and downs of the economy and whoever's in Congress or the White House or whatever the stock market is doing. And you know what Pioneer Steel and Pipe and that family does? They keep on getting better. Even now, when it's hard to get certain product that they need to get to you, the customer, they are still thriving. And it's been difficult at times. I got an email from Braden the other day. Braden Embry was like, yeah, man, the distribution at times has been hard, but they find it for you. Whether you need it for a construction site or like a commercial site or even for something home or agriculture, a farm, ranch, whatever it might be, a metal building somewhere in your backyard, Pioneer Steel and Pipe is going to get it to you. And they're going to help you understand how to build what you want to build if you need help. And they can also help you as well if you need somebody to help you through the process of whatever contractor to help you get through the process. Man, I tell you what, they're amazing locations in Waco and Bryan. They are digging, starting to churn the dirt a little bit on their brand new location. That's going to take a while on the corner of 340, Loop 340 and 12th Street, but they are there for you through thick and thin. And that's why it's the Pioneer Way. Open Monday through Friday and also 8 until noon on Saturdays. PioneerBoys.com online and locations in Waco and Bryan.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Niche Group Insurance Agency. With the Niche Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Niche Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Niche Group at 1-800-258-8302.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Learning to navigate life in the COVID-19 world has been a struggle, and where and how to get tested has been one of the biggest challenges. Impact Health Labs has your answer. If you need mass testing for your office, church, dormitory, or school, Impact Health Labs is who to call. They will come to you, conduct the testing at your location, and have the test back within 24 hours. Most major insurance accepted, meaning your out-of-pocket cost is low. So no more waiting by the phone for days to find out the results. Impact Health Labs was founded by 3 Army licensed and credentialed medical professionals professionals. They believe in accuracy, efficiency, and doing the job right. Call 254-744-6233 to set up your group screening today. Impact Health Labs, on-site, prompt, and accurate, taking COVID-19 head-on. Again, that number is 254-744-6233 or online at impacthealthlabs.com.
Are you ready to say big on a new 2020 Chrysler 300 Touring? A car with superior craftsmanship and quality. During the President's Day event at Allen Samuels, say big and drive a new 2020 Chrysler 300 Touring with special values of $7,250 or 0% for 72 months and $2,000 in combo cash right now. Visit the customer award-winning Allen Samuels located at 201 West Loop 340 in Waco to see the incredible 2020 Chrysler 300 Touring. It's the best President's Day event going on now at Allen Samuels, your friend in the car business. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. Are you a SicEm365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at SicEm365.com.
All right. Last night the Lady Bears rolled, finished their regular season 17-1. Monstrous year. One of the comments that I thought I did pique my interest, Kim Mulkey saying that she hopes all three seniors come back, and of course that's an option. That includes Dee Richards, who's been amazing in her career. It also includes Moon Urson, who's had an explosive year this year, and then Dejanay Carrington, who's been great, been a godsend for them this year, the transfer from Stanford, but that remains to be seen. Queen Egbo, 26 points and 10 rebounds, 11 of 23 from the field, and was a force. And Alyssa Smith scored 13, but she had foul trouble. Queen Egbo was as good as I've ever seen her, and she's kind of in the last couple of weeks really shown quite a bit. Kim Mulkey on Queen Egbo.
I think Queen's playing the best basketball she's played since she's been at Baylor. I thought she worked extremely hard on the block. I thought she positioned herself knowing how they were going to guard her, three-quarter, and really, just leaning on you. And you're only going to be open for about 2 seconds in there as a post player. And we've got to do a better job on the perimeter of delivering passes the minute they're open, because good defensive teams aren't going to give you that long to get it in there. And so we're trying to get better at that. Yeah, Queen did a really nice job of trying to demand the ball and pin her man and get some shots in there.
Kim, you've had to play some stretches without Nalissa before, but today it seemed like when she went out with her fourth foul that you opened up a lead, stretched the lead without her. How much does that help as you enter postseason play? Not that you want to play without her much.
Well, first of all, it was just dumb coaching by me. I should have never put her and Carrington back in the game. Carrington survived it. I just coach like that. I tell them, that's on me. You don't put a kid back in there whose game is driving, and West Virginia's defense is always going to try to get block charges. And I gambled, and it worked for Carrington, but it didn't work for Nalissa. So that's on me. Are we better with Nalissa off the floor? Absolutely not. But your question is very good in that we have to be able to keep playing and keep producing when Nalissa or any of our top scorers are not on the floor, and I thought we did.
Queen, if you don't mind, a question for you. Why are you playing at this level right now? What's clicked for you in the last, let's say, 3 to 4 weeks?
I feel like, honestly, it's just confidence. I've been playing a lot more confident than I have in the start of the season versus now, I've been able to really gain a lot of trust in my teammates and in myself. And I feel like we feed off of each other's energy. When I'm hype and they're hype, I feel like it just adds to that. We're able to play better together. And it comes down to confidence for me. I've been working on a few things in my game, so I feel like it's just starting to come to the surface and show a little bit more.
So that's Queen Egbo. She's obviously gotten better. John McClain coming up next. She's gotten better. I still think she has an incredible upside. And I started watching her athletically. I always thought maybe that she has some explosion. I spoke with Bill Brock. We had that earlier. If you missed that segment, if you're a Lady Bears fan and want to hear it, I thought he broke all that down of what Nalissa Smith and Queen Egbo are doing and how they've done it and where they've come from. And he mentioned in that interview, we've heard about the men, they 21-day pause, had one practice. The women had 34, I thought it was 34 or 36 out of 40 days where they did not get any off-season weight work or conditioning right before the season began. And then they had a pause. Remember, at the end of the year and early part of the year as well. Oh well. Is anybody, Craig, anyone, I know that you never know, but can anyone in that tournament beat them this week in Kansas City? The men, of course, I think it's so deep you never know. But what about the women?
I mean, can they? Sure. Will they? Unlikely. I'm not expecting it. I anticipate the Lady Bears, with the way they're playing right now, to go into the tournament and basically run roughshod on it. They haven't had too many close contests this year. I think that they're playing their best basketball. And, typically you would maybe eye a team like Texas, but, they've taken care of them pretty easily in their two meetings. So, no, I don't think there's any reason to think that they go in there and win the tournament. There's no real threat that I see, whereas with the men, it's a much different story, like you said. So, two teams that are going to be, what a weekend it could be, or what a week it could be if they can both, somehow win their tournaments. But certainly I anticipate the ladies having a far better chance to do that.
When we come back, John McClain on Dak's contract and much more. How about this real quick more note on the Lady Bears? They had 117 against McNeese State in those early non-conference games. They scored 91 against Tech in December. That was their second highest point scored in the game. Their last two games are their second and third highest outputs of the year of 93 and 96. That game yesterday had too many fouls called. I know they both play physical, but that was too much. When we come back, John McClain, Dee Richards will join us tomorrow, by the way, as they get ready for the tournament. This is SicEm365 Radio.
March marks 22 years for Richard Carr Motors. Celebrate with big savings going on now during the anniversary sale event.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more. Welcome back to SicEm365 Radio. It's time for our weekly segment with John McClain of the Houston Chronicle, brought to you by Pioneer Steel and Pipe, where customer service is their main focus, and best in metal, steel, and pipe for large or small projects, with 2 locations in Waco and Bryan. Family owned and operated since 1943.
Thanks again, Jared Butler. Also, Todd Archer, Brent Bankston on the collectible card business, Bill Brock, Mac Rhodes, Chris Vanini, David Hellman, also Kim Mulkey and Queen Egbo, and now joined by Hall of Fame writer John McClain of the Houston Chronicle with us, and one of as much of a supporter and sending out all of what we put out on Twitter and on this show as anyone else that we have, and he's not even working for us, but it sometimes feels as if he is. John, thank you. You've been able to kind of get into that premium section a little bit lately in the last week or two. How much have you had a chance to do that, and how much you like it?
Well, I like it because I knew I was going to like it because you guys are on there. But also they do a really good job of covering Baylor. And so I'm always fired up when I see something come on and I can click on now and get the best inside information on Baylor football. By the way, the AP Big 12 voting, was that done by media?
Yes,
writers?
yes.
Well, that just goes to show what I've known for 40-something years. Writers know a hell of a lot more than coaches.
Yeah, I'm gonna take that clip out and send it to Stephen Hawkins. He'll love it. He'll love hearing that he's the one who spearheads that. John,
hold on a minute. I got nothing against Cade Cunningham, but like when I was watching the game the other day with Vitale, and I think at one point he actually did talk about Baylor instead of Michigan and Michigan State and Illinois. And I guess nobody told him Baylor beat Illinois. And it drove me crazy. Give me Fran Fraschilla and Jay Billis any day of the week. Anyway, the play-by-play guy, I forget who it was, put out Jared Butler all the positive stats after Dickie V said Cunningham, and then Dickie V changes his mind on the air about Butler, which he shouldn't have had to been informed about that. And now Cunningham's a hell of a player, which he showed in that game in the second half. But to me, it's not a no-brainer. It should have been close. But Jared Butler got from the AP, the official all-conference team, that he is well-deserving of the Player of the Year award in the Big 12. So I'm glad to see somebody got it right.
John, to the NFL now. I'm curious of this because one of the things you've told me from the very beginning of my career is always read the local writers first when you're going for things because they know and the national media blows things out of proportion. Well, for 2 years, Dak Prescott's contract has been speculated on, and you hear all kind of crazy hot takes that he should just leave or do all these things. Now that it's over, is there relief among people that cover the NFL that they don't have to hear stupid hot takes about a certain subject?
I tweeted yesterday after that deal was announced that I feel terrible for all my friends in the Dallas-Fort Worth media because they no longer can speculate on Willie or Won't for another year. I'll guarantee you them, just like they are, just like you guys who are in the middle of Cowboy country, everybody is so happy that Dak signed that extension so they no longer have to talk about it once it gets past this initial wave. And had they franchised him and he signed that tag, they had to cut players and restructure contracts because it would have put them over the cap. And think about if they went back to after the 2018 season and they could have signed him to an extension then, there would have been at least $10 million less a year, but they went on and on about it, and now it's costing them $40 million a year. And that's why I'd say to the Cardinals that third-year guy, Kyler Murray, after this season, do it, like the Texans did with Deshaun Watson with 2 years left. If Deshaun Watson came back and had another great season for the Texans, say a tree fell on his head and he got up with no memory, recent memory, and thought he's still happy to be the quarterback, and he had another great year, and Dak Prescott had signed for $160, he'd get more than Prescott. So that's why you've got to get these quarterbacks done, and it may be tough, and it may backfire on you like Philadelphia, and I can't say it backfired on the Rams because Jared Goff helped them go to the Super Bowl, but it's like that old Fram oil filter commercial, you can pay me now or pay me later. You've got to pay the quarterbacks early.
You kind of answered my question somewhat right there, in regards to the money and how they let it get to this point. But what were your thoughts when you saw the figures that have been reported? And obviously the Cowboys having to play around with the money year by year. But what were your thoughts on the contract overall from what you've seen?
Well, it lowered his cap figure from $37 million, which would have been the franchise tag. And some people said Jerry Jones spending this money in anticipation of the new TV deal. Give me a break. We all know that TV deal's going up. Jerry Jones is a multi-billionaire. He doesn't need to know the TV deal's going up. He just backed off his 5 years and did a 4, and then you could franchise him another 2 years. So he's guaranteed to be in there 6 years, and if he plays well, he'll get another extension. So they did the smart thing for right now, although it would have been a whole lot smarter to have already done it, even though it was only 4 years then, and is what Prescott wanted. And I'm happy for him. The guy's earned it. People say, they were going to get rid of him or trade him. Who were they going to get to play quarterback? Andy Dalton? Danny White?
John, if you had the ability to have either Dak Prescott or Deshaun Watson, obviously Prescott's a 4th-round pick, Watson's been given a lot of money, and obviously now Dak as well. If those two went on the open market, would it be considerable that Watson would get more interest than Dak, or pretty close?
Oh, absolutely. Watson's a top 5 quarterback. Dak may not be top 10 quarterback. I think he's really good for the Cowboys, and they should want him. But Watson's been to the last 3 Pro Bowls. Last year he had his best stats, every statistic, and so, I don't know anybody, even the Cowboys, they'd never say this, who would take Prescott over Watson.
John, with the Deshaun Watson situation, as free agency kicks up and teams start throwing money around, do you, and maybe probably less this year because of the lower cap, do you expect to see more teams maybe get aggressive towards the Texans to try to convince them to trade him, or do you think that won't happen until the draft?
Oh, they've already tried that. They say thanks, but no thanks. And the more they say thanks, but no thanks, the more teams that are interested. Because if you need a quarterback, you got to check. I think it should go right up to the draft. I think around April 1st, they should start entertaining offers. It'll be a feeding frenzy, a 24/7 news cycle with this report, that report, sources close to the Texans, sources close to Watson. And then I think they ought to take the best possible deal before the first day of the draft on April 29th. And there's depth in the first round. There's never been 5 quarterbacks going to top 10. I certainly don't think there'll be 5 quarterbacks going in the top 10 this year, although I've seen some mock drafts that say that. But, if you want a quarterback this year and you don't get Trevor Lawrence, you should definitely be interested in trying to see what it takes to acquire Deshaun Watson, who's 25 years old and under contract through 2025.
So you think that the Texans should trade him even though their position has been not to?
Absolutely, and they're doing the right thing. What are they going to say? Yes, we're interested in trading him, or yeah, we'll listen to this one. There's no secrets. The first time they listen to a team make a proposal, it's going to leak out in the media, and then everybody's going to go crazy until he's actually traded, especially general manager Nick Caserio, who'd be one getting all those calls, texts, emails, direct messages. He may have to hire 3 or 4 assistants to fill all those calls. But there's a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, and a lot of them are at the top. But to me, the only teams to deal with would be the Jets with the 2nd pick or the Dolphins with the 3rd. And then I wrote a column Monday saying since the pipeline is flowing from Houston to Phoenix, they should talk to Steve Keim, the GM in Arizona, about a Watson for Kyler Murray and something else swap. The problem with that is if Kyler Murray was going to be traded here, he'd say, well, if Watson doesn't want to play there, why would I want to play there? Call his daddy Kevin, say, call the A's. Get the A's on the phone.
Ooh.
Yeah, that could be interesting for sure. So, John, it's been a few days now since J.J. Watt announced he would be heading to the Arizona Cardinals. Got Deshaun Watch still going on as well. What's kind of the pulse of the Houston fan base right now with J.J. Watt's departure and I guess just awaiting word on what's going to happen with Watson?
Hopeless. I wrote a column Sunday saying the Texans' credibility with the fans and media is at an all-time low, and only 2 times in more than 40 years I've covered the NFL here have I seen it lower. That was when the Oilers fired Bum Phillips on New Year's Eve of 1980, and then the last year before they moved to Nashville in 1996. That's how bad it is with the Texans. Will Fuller, their best receiver, they didn't tag him. I'm sure he's going to leave now. If I'm a team and I think I'm going to have a chance to get Watson like the Jets, who know they're going to have to give up draft choices, but have $77 million in cap money, I'd try to bring in Will Fuller. I'd look at the former Texans center Nick Martin, who's also tight with Watson. I'd sign those guys in a heartbeat.
Anything else, guys?
Nope.
All right. Thank you very much. John, as always, great to have you on the show. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, you guys, and Sic'em.
That's Sic'em. John McClain, Houston Chronicle Hall of Fame writer. By the way, the NFL today was the day you had to tag somebody, right? And we know that Dak will have to be officially tagged, and now they can't use that again as a part of the agreement. Chris Godwin, he was tagged by Tampa Bay.
They also signed Levante David, 2 years, $25 million. Today.
Greatest linebacker in pro football history. Is it Marcus May? Marcus May. Then why put the E at the end of it? That's how much I pay attention. New York Jets safety, he's franchise tagged. Didn't they have the guy named Adams?
Yeah, Jamal Adams.
Okay. Taylor Moton, offensive tackle for Matt Rule and the Panthers, tagged. Mm-hmm. Allen Robinson, wide receiver, Chicago, tagged.
He's going to be pissed.
What?
He did not want to get tagged.
102 catches for 1,250 yards. And
and he doesn't know who his quarterback's going to be.
Rappaport and others saying that the move wasn't a surprise.
It's not a surprise, but he's still going to be. I mean, he's been at the Jaguars and the Bears.
Why do you have to say words like pissed?
I mean, that's the best way I could encapsulate the emotions of Allen Robinson.
All right, Cam Robinson. Craig, jump in if you know these guys enough to where you one curious about him. Jacksonville Jaguars tackle. He's going to protect it. Urban Meyer's quarterback. He was tagged. Brandon Scherf for Washington. Okay, I don't like this one. I like him. He's really good. I think he even made the Pro Bowl and maybe been an All-Pro. I'm not sure if he made first or second team. He's been tagged now twice. New organization in a lot of ways. 29 years old. I remember when they drafted him out of Iowa. He's going to get more money than most ever any guards. Maybe Zach Martin might be the only one. I don't even know about his cap hit.
Yeah.
Guards don't get paid.
No. But, I mean, good for Brandon Scherf.
No, I like him. They have died for years without an offensive line, and he's one of the good ones. So keep him. I hope they can maybe work on a long-term deal. Justin Simmons, safety from Denver.
Yeah, I think that's going to disappoint some Cowboy fans because I think they thought that maybe he wouldn't get tagged, and
so that means he was going to
go to the Cowboys because Cowboy fans believe that everyone wants to be a Cowboy.
Now, this guy was really good for the Giants, Leonard Williams.
Yeah, I think he signs a deal within the next week or so.
Okay. All right.
Some of the interesting guys that weren't tagged, like Kenny Golladay, the Lions, Aaron Jones of the Packers, not tagged.
But he's a running back, and see, here we go again.
That's smart. Like Corey Linsley of the Packers, also not tagged, and they could have brought him back. And that one, Jack's a Packers fan. I'm not sure that makes him sweat. And
hey, Joe Corey, who we've had, right, Craig and Paul and Armstrong and Jack, he mentioned Aaron Jones. Running backs make their money with extensions, not on the free agent market. They make their money by getting extended with their – look at Zeke. Mm-hmm. There's not many running backs that get big-time free agent money. It's the biggest money comes from extensions, so Aaron Jones needs to be careful there. Or the Packers need to be careful, too, because you don't just pick them off a tree either as far as running backs. Huh? They're not going to extend Aaron Jones.
No, well, I mean, because they drafted A.J. Dillon last year.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So – A.J. Dillon's a different back than Aaron Jones. I think that, it'll be interesting to see how that changes. Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon, and I'm sure they'll pick up some kind of free agent to fill some sort of gap. But Aaron Jones, a guy that we've actually had on the show a few times.
Yeah. He was an Earl Campbell guy, Craig, wasn't he? He didn't win it, but wasn't he a few times brought up in that deal?
Yeah, he was an honorable mention a few times, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah.
Tomorrow, the Big 12 men's tournament, TCU and Kansas State, the first game at 5:30. That's interesting because the winner gets Baylor on Thursday afternoon. And then Oklahoma, Iowa State tomorrow night, the winner will play Kansas, who lost David McCormack and another teammate, I can't remember the guy's name, Osonomu, who's out because of the COVID protocol.
David McCormack's roommate.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense then. Now, I know we got 5 for 555. We got to take a break here. Okay, good, because this gives me time. The Eyes of Texas report came out. And it's kind of, remember yesterday we got a little sneak peek about that. Here's one of the quotes, or here's one of the comments. Based on the evidence, the committees concluded that there was very low likelihood that the line originated with Robert E. Lee, which was something we kind of heard yesterday, and was instead a message of encouragement and accountability to the students and faculty at then the fledgling university. Also, people have pointed out the lyrics being a reference to slavery, namely, do you not think that they can escape them at night or early in the morn, the eyes of Texas are upon you? The committee said they found no evidence of that. Also, the Eyes of Texas melody, right? I've been working on the railroad. They did not find, or they did not address that song's racist roots in the section, but share facts about the song, say borrowing melodies was at the time a common thing to do. All right?
Yeah. Well, this also just a lesson, and I said this from the beginning, write your own original melody.
No, you're right. Also, the final thing was the committee research shows the song was meant to parody then President Prather, who used the Eyes of Texas phrase often. They called this painful reality of the song's origin. Now, that doesn't mean this is over. By no means is this over, but they did come out with a 24-member committee. Different people, different backgrounds, different origins, different races, different ages were on this committee. And I'm sure, like anything else that's released, 50% will like it and 50% will be, okay, it's okay, right? So, I don't know. Not sure if that they're having a good run in recruiting, Craig. They got the quarterback out of California. They got another great running back. So this has not hurt them ever, has it? I mean, maybe there was a little damage control, but it seems like they're recruiting well with Sarkisian. Good timing to bring him in.
Yeah, I mean, when do they not recruit well, though?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so, they slipped and were barely top 20 when Mac Brown was at his absolute lowest. So, yeah, Texas recruits well. They're always going to recruit well. This story, I don't know how much interest it really was to, anybody over the age of 20, quite frankly, or that didn't play football for Texas. I don't know. Most of the arguments that I saw were older people, typically defending it or having a strong opinion the other way. And then younger people who typically had the opinion that they didn't like the song for whatever reason they didn't like the song. So, I mean, it was all just infighting. It was never going to have widespread repercussions. I mean, Sarkisian's not even been there for 3 months yet. So, It wasn't ever going to be anything that I felt like dragged or really impeded him all that much. Now they're done with it. We'll see what the football, or I guess for those who care, we'll see what the football players have to say and whether or not they're cool with what's been put out there or not. But, it's been a story of interest, I guess, but I never felt like he was going to turn into like some massive, albatross for UT that they couldn't overcome. So they, wiped their hands clean of it today with this report, or yesterday whenever it came out, and move on about their business. And, if somebody pops up and has something to say about it, I'm sure they'll address it and then, like I said, continue to move forward.
All right. Thanks to a lot of you today who have been a part of the show, the text messages from a bunch of you, even Stephen Vaughn showing me that he's got some kind of a NASCAR collectible thing that's worth $1.6 billion or something. I didn't mean to throw out that information. If Stephen lives in Virginia,
if you'd like to rob him, go ahead.
I can give you his address if you want. Again, one of the notes today, real quickly, Jared Butler, if you didn't hear at the start, we've kind of summarized this. AP Big 12 Player of the Year, first team as well. But Davion Mitchell was second team. Maceo Teague moved up a notch from the coaches. He was a second team selection as well. So All-American sporting news, both Butler and Mitchell. Butler first team, Mitchell I think was third team. And David McCormack and Tristan and Aruna from Kansas, both out of the Big 12 tournament for KU coming up this weekend. Eddie Thomas, Buster Posey, pretty good player when he played, huh? National Catcher of the Year watch list.
Where did Buster Posey play?
Florida State.
That's right. You're darn tootin'.
And then again, KU today spent a lot of time with Jeff Long in a press conference saying he did everything he could possibly do to find information on Les Miles.
Buster Posey was a part of three teams, very disappointed not to win the College World Series.
Was he on the World Series teams with San Francisco?
Yeah. He won World Series in Major League, but not in freaking college.
No. And then Mookie Betts, of course.
I'm not bitter.
Florida State ex.
I got a Buster Posey card in my pack.
Do you really?
Oh,
I did.
Oh, we need to check that out later.
All right.
We got something to get to.
Yeah. Well, and we got to get to the 5 real quickly, but I want to say thank you because some of you and a lot of you today, a lot of people on the forums, we appreciate all of your support on what we have every single day. We appreciate a lot of you. We'll name those who we've had, but now time for Paul's fun time.
This is Paul Catalina's Top 5 at 5:55.
All right, top 5 issues facing the Cowboys. Now we're in the post-Dak contract era, which we're all relieved about. Number 5, they've got to change the way that they prioritize position groups. Their defense has not been real. When was the last time the Cowboys defense was where you're like, man, they're damn good? Oh, it's been a long time, right? And I think part of the reason is that they don't prioritize defensive tackle and safety. So they're never really harsh.
They don't value those who play that position enough to pay them to keep them or to get the better ones.
Or to draft them high that often. Like even when you have nothing else to draft, like just go draft one of those guys, they don't. I mean, they just don't prioritize them the right way.
Okay.
Number 4, Jalen Smith's fit in this new defense. They're not going to cut him because, and this is lucky for Jalen Smith in that they don't really have a replacement for him. Like they don't really have a lot of guys on the roster. And you can maybe make the excuse that defense was bad for pretty much everybody at every position last year, and he was playing out of position. So let's see what Dan Quinn can do with Jalen Smith and do something that's more befitting his talent. But the argument can be made, guys, that for the last year and a half, he hasn't played well. It wasn't just 2020.
Right.
2019 towards the tail end was not that great either.
He's not going to get cut because he and Jerry are close.
Yeah. So, number 3, Tyron Smith's health there and his future. And I think we'll know more about this. If that 10th pick in the draft is a tackle, then I think you know everything you need to know about how they think about Tyron Smith's long-term viability.
That's good point.
Number 2, can you really do anything in free agency that's going to help right away? And I'm just going to tell everybody, no, they probably can't unless they hit on somebody or the benefit the Cowboys could reap, honestly, with this. But this is going to be more teams like the Buccaneers or somebody who's legitimately closer to a Super Bowl or coming off one, is that if the salary cap being lower causes a lot of guys to have to take 1-year prove-it deals because the market's not really there for them. They might be able to hit on somebody that's going to help them right away. But other than that, I think free agency for them is just going to be gap filler. I think that's, they're going to need to sign somebody at linebacker, at defensive tackle to be, placeholders, but I don't think you're going to.
So there's no Deion Sanders playing cornerback out there.
No,
right?
there's not. There's not a
Leroy. There's
not a Leroy Glover, who unfortunately the Cowboys were never quite good while he was there.
Yeah, wouldn't Levante David have been really nice?
Yeah, I mean, great.
Would he fit in this defense?
I think Levante David fits wherever. He just
wherever
goes
you could put on pads.
Goes and hits people. And number one,
where did he play?
Nebraska. Yeah. And number one, can Dan Quinn fix this defense? And then the good news for Dan Quinn is, he doesn't have to make them number one. He just has to make them not number 32.
He has to do what Baylor had to do 10 years ago. You had this dynamic offense that could put up a huge amount of points. You just need an extra stop or two.
If the Cowboys can be 15th in the league in total defense, they'll win 10 games. But if they're going to be 26th or 27th, it doesn't matter how good the offense is. Doesn't matter. All right, that's it for today.
All right, Craig, anything you want to say about Paul's little fun time?
No, you're kind of killing it with your lack of enthusiasm, but no.
I was being serious about a couple of those names. Okay, go ahead.
Well, yeah, I think he hit it. It's kind of boring to talk Cowboys now in a roundabout way because there's not like some big prolific decision that has to be made. It's just like you actually have to coach and go win games. A novel idea, I know.
Like nerds.
So now it's just actually going and playing football, and I'm just glad we don't have to talk about it anymore. I think Dak's a great dude, but I almost started to dislike him, just because his name was being brought up, and that's not on him. So, best of luck to him, and I hope Cowboys fans out there are relieved that our long national nightmare is finally over.
Yeah. Thank you to Todd Archer, Brent Bankston, Bill Brock, Mac Rhodes, Chris Vanini, David Hellman, Kim Mulkey, Queen Egbo, and John McClain. Thank you, Craig. Sound better and better every day. Paul Catalina, Jack McKenzie, and also Armstrong Sims. I'm David Smoak. Thank you for watching, listening, and being a part of what we do every day on SicEm365 Radio. Good night. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance has been proudly serving Texans across the state for over 60 years. Call 254-772-8090 to find an agent who will provide a free review of your auto, home, and life coverage.
It's the President's Day event at Allen Samuels with deals on the 2020 Jeep Renegade Latitude with total values of $6,750 or 0% for 72 months plus $2,500 in combo cash. Shop AllenSamuelsDCJ.com. See dealer for details. All offers have credit requirements.